Oh, you're back.
Sorry about that, Jonathan. Sorry about that,
That's
Jonathan.
all right.
What was
That's
going
all
on
right.
with my connection?
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought it all stopped and you froze and then I froze and I thought, what's going on?
It was the
And do you
same
know,
for me. You guys frozen me.
okay, and do you know what? I've now managed to connect us. So we've been on for 22 minutes and I hadn't pressed connect to YouTube. So on YouTube, I've got Mark Cousins and other people making comments, and I'm like, but we went live. We've already gone live. So while you shut out, I had a quick look, and I've worked that out. I pressed the button now, so we're in the room again.
All right,
Sorry,
cracking.
as you were saying, Robbie, you were talking and then you just cut out. So
Yeah, horrific Wi-Fi. I've lost my train of thought now. I can't remember what I was talking about.
do you know what? Because I was doing the repressing of the buttons and that. We'll move on.
I,
We'll,
I
we'll
think it
continue.
was I think it was Eric Dyer, wasn't it? We were talking about Eric
Yeah, yeah,
Dyer.
yeah. Go on. Yeah, yeah, as you were saying.
Yeah, but I was just saying like the issue is for Dyer with me is like we expect these players to want to leave when we're literally paying them a fortune, and we're going to be paying Dyer a fortune for a year, where he can literally sit on the sidelines, collect his wages, and go to a European club, which he wants to do next summer. Yes, it's fairly ambitious for a footballer to want to do that, but the amount of money he'll be earning for doing nothing. But the guy frustrates me. He's stealing the living and pretty much in a way refusing to leave
Yeah,
because we're trying to get in that Eric Dyer's just saying, no, I want to stay at Spurs. Clearly, the manager doesn't want him at Spurs because he hasn't involved him in any of the squad so far. But then Eric Dyer just going, oh, I want to stay at Spurs. It's like power struggle, power struggle.
right. So sorry, Robbie. 1 minute ago, Total Spurs UK have said Brennan Johnson to Tottenham. Here we go. Agreement reached right now with Nottingham Forest on a deal in excess of 40 million with add-ons included. Total package up to 45 million. Brennan on his way to medical tests at Spurs training ground right
That's done
now.
then.
Priority target signed. Fabrizio Romano.
Yeah,
So
that's
Fabrizio Romano said it apparently, and they're copying what he said.
yeah. He's the most reliable out there, so say
Yeah,
the
so
most
yeah,
reliable out
at the
there.
bottom it says Romano said it.
Yeah,
And people have started commenting finally and stuff like that. So people are starting to comment about it.
yeah.
So it looks like he's in.
I'll just give my thought choice, and then I'll have to head off in a few minutes. But I just want to say about Brennan Johnson.
Yep.
I like the guy. I think he's done well at Forest. I think he's a good player, but I think there's other positions that need to be prioritised. I think there's other positions that are more important to strengthen in. I said to you, I think we need a striker. I think we need a centre back much more than we need a winger right now. Maybe down the line, bring one in for depth. But yeah, I'm not opposed to Brennan Johnson himself, but I'm opposed to signing a winger. I think right now there's other priorities. But Jose, I'm gonna have to head off, mate.
Okay.
It's
And
been a pleasure.
Brian Daigle's just retweeted it just now as well. So and he said one in, keep them coming. uh,
Yeah,
Robbie, thank you
hopefully
very much for
it's more.
popping on, mate. And yeah, I'll catch up with you soon. You're more than welcome all the
Definitely.
time. Yeah.
Apologies I couldn't come on for later. Thanks for having me on,
No,
Jose.
that's
See
great.
you
No,
later.
thank you very much. Take care, Robbie. Bye bye
Have a
now.
good day. Up the
Yeah,
Spurs.
up the stairs. Right, so we've got one in through the door then. Um, yeah, people are all commenting on it now, so we have got one through the door. Let me have a look. Let me have a look. We definitely got one through the door. Right, what else have we got going on then? Yeah, so everyone's retweeting it now. So Brian Daigle's retweeting. What else we got? Paul O'Keefe, other Staten Johnson deal, fee agreement not in Forest. It's just under 40 million before some add-ons with another 5 million. Good old Brian Daigle has retweeted, as I just said. Spurs Ninja are retweeting as well. Here we go. Still can't get over. Sofian Amrabat, I can't get over it. He is signed on a loan for 10 million on the loan fee, and then 20 million fee for next season, and with 5 million further add-ons, 35 million euros, which is what, 30 million quid, 30 million pounds for some Sofian Amrabat, who's got to be one in the top 5 6s in the whole of the world. How cheap is that? That's cheaper than chips. Yeah, it's absolute madness, isn't it? It's absolute madness. Don't understand it. Don't understand it. Very, very cheap indeed. Very, very cheap indeed. But there we go. There we go. So that's all going on at the moment. What else we got? Anything else? Daniel Austin, so Craig Sullivan, JR rated. Let's put in there. Let's go. So he's obviously happy with it. 2 minutes ago, Transfer News Live have confirmed that Crystal Palace manager Roy Hodgson that they are interested in signing Arsenal defender Rob Holding, and that was at his official press conference on deadline day. It's mad. It's absolute mad. Some of the deals that are done today, although deals are being done, I kind of think to myself, some that we didn't sign. So nobody can tell me that Mohamed Kudus, who I called out last season, so last summer, and I was saying that maybe we should be getting, or we should be going for Mohamed Kudus, because I saw the decline in Sonny, and I thought to myself, let's go and get Mohamed Kudus. Let's go and get Mohamed Kudus. But no, and Mohamed Kudus has gone what for 38 million to our rivals down the road. Absolute bargain. Absolute bargain. It's just absolute madness. Diaby, I think went just for shy of 50 million to Villa. What are people going to tell me that Diaby wasn't good enough to play for us either, and wouldn't fit our system? Because he would. I mean, we're going to get people saying, yeah, but our squad is bloated. We need to get rid of players first before we can buy any and all that. Do I believe in that? It was obvious with the way things were going. It was obvious that all the outs were going to happen towards the end of the window, if not the end. Proof will be in the pudding today when players end up going out. So far, I think the only one that's gone out at the moment is Reguilon, although there are rumours about Tanganga. Jed Spencer's now gone out on loan as well. Rodon's gone out on loan. So we've got all these players that have gone out on loan. The under 21s, the two under 21 boys, Divine and Scarlett, have gone out on loan. They were getting all these players out, and it was all at the end of the window near enough. So, with that being said, Tottenham always do this, and it's always at the end of the window. So if it's at the end of the window and they knew this already, why didn't we just go out and buy some of these players earlier on, knowing that at the end of the window we were going to get rid of players anyway? It's not as if we're going to get sell-on fees for them, so you don't have to think to yourself, hold on, let's sell them first, bring some money in, and then buy some others. We were never ever going to get money for these players. They were only ever going to go out on loans. So I can't understand. It's the mind boggles as to why we didn't make any of these signings earlier. The mind just boggles. But it is what it is. But the mind boggles. It's just madness. But yeah, there's a lot of players. I just think to myself, why couldn't we go from? Why have they not? Why couldn't we go from? Who's saying that they can't fit the system? Because they clearly can fit the system. Who else is there? I mean, Amrabat as well. You've got Amrabat, you've got Kudos, you've got Diaby. The boy Scott, who went to Bristol City, English player, English tax on him, but I think they got him for what, 20 with add-ons, 25 million for a youngster. If he proves to be a good buy, he'll be a lot more valuable and a saleable asset come in the future. If he carries on his trajectory and growing the way he did, we didn't bother going for him. No. So what we've done is we've waited for a domino train to come along. And when that domino train, if it does click in and it does work, then we're going to get rid of some players. Only if the domino effect works. It's absolute madness. Absolute madness. It seems to be that other clubs are moving, or other clubs do move a lot quicker than us. And I don't see, and I hear people, and I've been supporting Tottenham for years and years, but I don't see other clubs struggling with their numbers, home quotas, quotas from abroad. Um, yeah, home quotas, quotas from non-homegrown players, um, having to get rid of players, can't get players in. We have the same story. It seems to be it's rinse and repeat. Now, last year, like this year as well, in the summer window, we started early. We got some players in early. I think we did that last season. I think we got 5 of our 6 players in early, and the one that we delayed on was Jed Spence. That went on for like 6 weeks or so before we ended up signing Jed Spence. The fee was always mooted to be around 15 million quid. We didn't save any money. We did pay what we ended up paying, and obviously that seems to have fallen wayward because he's not played at all for us, and he's being farmed out again. So yeah, great work. I don't know what they spent 6 weeks on doing, and I don't know who put his name down, but I think they need to go back to the drawing board with a lot of the stuff that they do at Tottenham. Um, and then this season we've gone in and we've bought. Well, we were obligated to buy uh, Porro. We were obligated to buy Kulu, and then after that we've bought in Vicario, Madison, Van der Ven, Solomon, and Veliz. So we've done that. Well, apart from the Van der Ven deal, um, we seem to do the others quite quick. Van der Ven took about 4 weeks, 5 weeks, but we got him in, and Veliz happened quite quickly. But then that was everybody in, and then we've had to wait what? We've had to wait a whole month, practically, a whole month to wait for the deadline day to come along to do some business again. And we did this last year. And last year, the only business we did on deadline day was letting people go out on loan because we didn't sell anyone, so we just let people go out on loan last year, and that was on deadline day. We managed to get a load of players out, and even then we miscalculated the amount of loans that we could do, and we're doing exactly the same now. We're not selling anyone at the moment. It seems to be that everything that's going out at the moment, or everything that we've done so far this window, apart from obviously the 2 Harrys, but were done early on or early out in the window, it seems to be that everybody seems to be alone at the moment, and you're just like, what, really? Do you know what I mean? So, I don't know. It's just, yeah, it's just, whoa. So, yeah, it's just absolute madness. Um, so yeah, it remains to be seen who we getting rid of, who we getting rid of. It just, I mean, hopefully now that Fabrizio Romano said that this Brennan Johnson deal has gone through. It's now what it went through, according to Fabrizio, 13 minutes ago. That would have made it 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock to 11 o'clock tonight gives us 9 hours. So there's 9 hours left in the window. So if we're led to believe that the domino effect is happening and we're involved in this domino train, so then what we're now looking at is we're waiting for Paulinho to sign at Bayern in order for Højbjerg to then replace him at Fulham, which then means that then we can put the bid in or we can then go for Conor Gallagher. Now, according to reports that I heard earlier on today, the fee is not really a problem. I think the Conor Gallagher is the fee is not really a problem. The fee can be sorted, but then it's the structure of the payments and also getting the player buy-in. However, you wouldn't like to think, although this is Tottenham, you wouldn't like to think um, that we are going for a player with only 9 hours to go, although it's a bit longer because we were linked to him yesterday and a few days before as well. But we've got 9 hours to go, and you'd like to think that some sort of conversations with his agents or anything. Something's happened in the background, and he's been given the nod or the wink, and he fancies it. And if that's the case, then yeah, we would just wait for the domino effect to take its place. Paulinho signs for Bayern. Pierre goes to Fulham. We end up getting Gallagher. That would make a second player. Um, as I said when I had Robbie on earlier, I think that what's his name? I think that this Lloyd fellow from Bournemouth, it could well be that Ange does want him, but then it could also well be, could also be a smoke screen for us going for another defender uh, and bringing someone else in. That's not Lloyd at all. Now I was saying to Robbie earlier when he was on that there's rumours out in France that Monaco, now that Rennes have bid for Sanchez and he got turned down, and Rennes supposedly are coming in with another bid, that's alerted Monaco again. Now, if that's alerted Monaco, then the person who's been linked with Monaco up until now has been tossing at Barrio. So, if that's the case, is there still a chance or a possibility of us getting tossing in? But the Lloyd fella is a smokescreen. In saying that, you'd like to think how much are Fulham looking for to get for Tosin, because Tosin is in his last year of his contract, a bit the same like Lloyd, profile wise, age wise, and that they're quite similar. I really don't know much about Lloyd. Um, I've heard of him. I've seen him on team sheets. Um, I've heard him mentioned in games, but he's not someone I've turned around and said, "Oh, cool, yeah, I've seen him play." And that he's probably someone that's just gone under the radar, that's played his game and not done anything out of the ordinary or anything like that, and therefore he hasn't come to my attention. Um, well done, Mia. Mia, are you free? Because if you're free, I'll get you on because you're always good to have a chat with. Um, and you can swear on mine as much as you want because because I don't have all that monetization shit or anything like that. So anyone can do whatever they want on my one. So yeah, if you're free, I'll send you the link. I did put it out there, but I'm not sure whether you saw it because I'm not sure whether you're part of the groups anymore. But if you're not, then I can always send you the link. It's not a problem at all. Um, yeah, so yeah, to me, I think there's still things and deals that can be done there or thereabouts in the background. Um, but yeah, again, it's what do we do? What do we do in 9 hours' time? The window closes, and we've still got some of that deadwood that, for one reason or another, have not left us. Either because nobody came in for them, they didn't want to go, but we really don't want them. What do we then do? Is this story that we got told 2 months ago? Who was it? By Ornstein, I think it might have been, and someone else turned around and said, um, I'm sending it to you now, Mia. Turned around and said, um, there you go. I've sent it to you, Mia. Um, Ornstein said that they were going to rip up contracts. So, I mean, the ones that I'm thinking of are people like Dyer, Larice, and Dyer, Larice, and Endon Bailey. I think the person that we really, really, well, out of them, I think Dyer's the one that's saying, yeah, he will stay because he's got a year left. Well, Lloris has got a year left, and so has no, the other fella's got 2 years, only Endon Bailey. But it's just weird. I mean, what will we do? I don't know. Um, I'm open to suggestion. I don't know what we'll do. Hello,
Hello, hello.
hello. It's the wonderful Mia. Are you recovered?
Um, Almost. I'm probably about 83%. I'm still got a bit of a bunged up nose, so
Yeah,
that's anything left.
I thought you said the other day you was at about 85%. You actually did a stream on yours that I commented on, and you said that
Yeah,
you.
and I started feeling a bit rough again because my nose has started being bunged up, and I still feel quite tired. I have moments where I just need to sleep. Like I let this afternoon, I had a nap, which I never normally would do during the day. So I think it's still knocking me for six a little
Yeah.
bit.
What did you
Like
have?
I
What was
say.
wrong? You just had what
It was
flu?
COVID.
Flu? Oh, you had COVID as well.
Yeah, it was COVID.
Oh, bloody hell,
So
that knocks you sideways. The first time you had it?
yeah, it is the first time the first time I've had it and known about it. It could have been
Okay.
that I was asymptomatic before, but this one, I read it up on it, and they're saying like there's different symptoms this time with this strain, and I felt sick as well. I had
Right.
temperature, I had night sweats, I was feeling sick, I had a bunged up nose, sore throat, and I just couldn't do anything but sleep. I just was sleeping because I was so exhausted. I couldn't keep my eyes open.
Yeah, I was in when I've only had COVID once, and when I had it, I was out of action for 2 weeks solid, and I just felt in so much pain. I was in so much pain.
Yes.
It's just unbelievable. So when people talk about man flu, boy, it really knocked me because I was in so much pain. And
Well,
there's nothing you can do, is there? You can only take
no.
tablets. There's not much you can do. You need to have plenty of, like I say, plenty of fluids and rest.
Yeah, that's it. To be honest with you, I'm not someone who gets ill very often. So when I was away on holiday and I was ill, my brother and my mum both knew this is unusual for me to be like that, where I
Yeah,
literally couldn't get up off the sofa. I was so ill. I couldn't do anything. I was so exhausted. Even if I got up for a minute, I'd have to lay back down again straight away.
yeah.
That's how much energy I had. I literally was so exhausted.
Well, I wish you a speedy recovery, and I hope you feel a lot better because it's not nice for anybody not to feel well, not to feel 100, is it? So,
No, definitely not.
I certainly hope that you are on the road to recovery and that you get back to your 110% as soon as possible.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm sure I will. I just got to get rid of this bloody snotty nose now, which is really bugging me.
Right, so we signed Johnson
Yes,
20 minutes ago.
indeed, we did.
Happy?
Do you know what? I feel like we overpaid for a little bit on him, although the deal was a bit better than what we originally thought. But it's the times. If you look at what's being paid for players, I'm not shocked by that price. And although I wasn't keen on him at first, it's the idea is growing on me with him. And if Ange wants him, then I'm happy because I want to see what Ange can do with him because we know that Andrews in the past has picked up these players and done good with them. So I've got faith that if he sees something in him, that he's going to do something good.
Yeah, when I've watched Brendan Johnson, and I've watched him quite a bit since, well, I watched him in the Championship the season they came up, and I've probably watched less of the Championship since they came up, to be honest, because that was when Borough were playing and people like that. But I watched quite a bit of him then, and I watched him last season, and him and Morgan's Gibb White were the two mainstays for Forest last year, the two youngsters, and I can see a really good player in Brendan Johnson. I really can. Um, he's got the speed and he's got lots of attributes that you're quite right that Ange would be looking at and I would be looking at as well if I was playing the high press system that we're doing. Um, Also as well, if people say they used to watch Celtic and they used to watch Kyogo up front, Kyogo was everywhere. He weren't just a centre forward; he was across the front three areas of the line. Um, and to me, Brendan Johnson is someone to me that can play on the right and can play in the centre. He can play. I reckon he can play across the front three, and I think it's something that Postecoglou has had at other clubs. So I'm happy.
Yeah, I feel that he must see something in him, Jose. So for me, I know that it's not a sign, and maybe people are like it's a glamorous, big, oh, this certain type of sign. But it looked like from what we've been looking at that he was looking at somebody who was maybe could go along the front three. Excuse me, more than just an out and out striker.
Yeah.
So yeah, if that's what he wants and he sees something in him, then I'm happy to do it, and I trust what Ange wants. And if that's what he's looking at and what he's looking for in our team, because he feels that's what's missing, then I'm happy for him to get the player that he wants.
And do you think we'll do anything more today in the terms of coming in? I'm going to ask first of all.
Yeah, I think we will get someone else in. I think there'll be one more, maybe two if we're lucky.
Do you got any idea who they might be, or where your money's going, or where you're hedging your bets at the moment?
Oh, do you know what? We've got this Conor Gallagher link, but I still can't. I don't know, because it looks like Højbjerg is being a bit stubborn about where he wants to go. But if we get rid of Højbjerg, I think we are going to go for Conor Gallagher. And I feel like that's someone. And I think we are looking at another centre back. So I'm hoping we get a centre back in. So if we get all three of those, I would be happy. I would be like, that's a decent-ish window, in my opinion.
Yeah. So what about okay? So you've named the midfielder. So what about the centre half? Do you know who that might be?
We're looking at Pierce Schurz at the moment.
Okay.
Um,
The Ajax
that
player,
was some,
the ex-Ajax Torino player now. Yeah.
yeah, he was someone we were linked to in the past. It has been someone we've had that link to. So that's not one that's a new link, really. And obviously, we've been linked with the Bournemouth player that
Yeah.
everyone's going a bit kind of bonkers because no one wants him. Lloyd. Is it Lloyd?
Yeah, Lloyd. But I can't remember. Yeah, Lloyd. Yeah,
One,
that's
yeah.
it.
And so obviously that's someone that everyone's getting a bit hacked off about, but it looks like it's one of them because I think Lloyd can play left back as well as left centre back.
Yeah.
So I think that might be why. But we've got that with Van der Ven as well. Van der Ven can play both.
Correct.
So the thing is, it's important. I said the centre back will be more important because if we did have an injury to Destiny, we don't want to play Davies. We could play Van
Yeah.
der Ven there, and if we've got another centre back, then that's fine. So I think a centre back is probably quite important. So I'd say probably a centre back and maybe a midfielder if we manage to get rid of Højbjerg.
Because people are saying out there, Mia, they're saying that Tottenham have to get rid in order to bring in, and they're saying that the only way that we bring another centre half in is if we let either Dyer or Sanchez go. But what happens if we let Tanganga go? Don't we just bring in a centre half automatically because Tanganga's going out?
No, I think because we had so many in that position that we needed to get rid of. When you think about it, we had Joe Roden, Tanganga, Sanchez, Dyer. We've got Romero, Van der Ven. So we've got 6. So I think we probably need to get quite a few out before we replace
No,
one.
but two have gone because Rodon and
2 have
Tanganga,
gone.
2 have gone,
So
which
now
leaves us
we've
with
got
4.
4, and I feel that we probably want to get rid of either Dyer or I think Dyer or Sanchez needs to go, and then we'll get another one in. But
Right,
I
so
think
you're
what we'll
go on, go on.
go on. Yeah, what I think we should do is have. I know this isn't going to be popular, but if Sanchez is a backup, we get someone else in for centre back, and then what we'll do is don't register Dyer and then rip his contract up and tell him to get lost. That's what I think we should do.
Well, it's interesting because someone I can't remember because I've got my iMac open whilst I'm on here, and someone tweeted not so long ago that what they that so there's another club and they've just ripped up the contract because the player was stubborn and didn't want to go anywhere, and he's got 3 years left on his contract, and he's an international, and I think it might be Sevilla or someone like that in Spain, and they've ripped the player's contract up because he was dicking them about and wouldn't go anywhere. So they've gone and ripped his contract up and paid his last 3 years off and got rid of him. Said, "See you later on your bike." But I mean, I had Robbie from Lily White Lane on earlier, and
Oh yeah.
I said to Robbie, what will happen to us? What's going to happen at the end of the window? So come 11 o'clock tonight, Mia. If there's a scenario where we haven't got everyone out of the club that we wanted to get, what do you think the club will do? So I'm talking about at the moment. I'm looking at the likes of Lloris, Dyer, and Endon Bailey. They're the 3 that I'm putting my hat on at the moment. What do we do if the
Well,
window closes tonight and the 3 of them are still with us?
the thing about it is that in Turkey, their window shuts differently to ours, so we could still have the opportunity if Galatasaray are still interested for one of them to go to Galatasaray.
Okay,
That's an option, and also don't forget that in with the Saudi Arabian club, they're not closed their window, so we could
that's
still
right.
have the option of them coming in for one of our players, it possibly. So I don't think we're going to rip up the contract straight away. I think that there's still those options, maybe.
Yeah.
Um, before we even do that, because I understand, I want to do it, but I also understand the implications of it, because the player has to agree, and we're going to have to agree the fee, because there's no point of paying their whole wages up, because that would just be like, it would be not worth our while, because we're going to either pay them either way. I know we
Yeah.
want to get them out, but really what you need to try and do is pay a set amount, like 80% of it, and they've got to agree. So you want to do it in a way where people aren't going to just put their foot down from now on and say, well, I'm not going, just so we rip up their contract. It's a really tricky one. We've got to do it probably fairly carefully, because the effect of the money it will have, because Ndombele, to rip his contract up, would cost 20 million pounds.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah, it would do.
So that's a lot of money.
So,
So
so looking at it, Mia. So today, Denmark, Germany, France, Italy, Netherlands, Austria, Portugal, Spain, Ukraine, England, Scotland, Wales, and St. Lucia close their windows today.
yeah,
Tomorrow, San Marino closes their window. In 2 days'
okay,
time, Indonesia close their window. In 3 days' time, it's Costa Rica, Liberia, Moldova, and Poland and Romania. In 4 days' time, the window closes in Azerbaijan. In 5 days' time, it closes in Belgium, North Macedonia, Slovakia, Hungary, and I said Macedonia already, I think. In 6 days' time, it's Bulgaria, Saudi Arabia, Switzerland. In 7 days' time, so in a week's time, it'll be Bosnia, Croatia, Czech Republic. In 8 days' time, it's Morocco and Jamaica. In 10 days, it's Greece. I'm not even going to go and say that name. It's one of the Caribbean islands. Armenia's in 11 days. Australia's 11 days. New Zealand's 11 days. Mexico's 12. El Salvador, Nepal, Russia's 13 days. Turkey is open for a further 2 weeks, along with Cyprus, Serbia. They're open for another 2 weeks. And then you've got Bahrain, 16 days. Qatar, 17. Israel, 19. God, I didn't realize there's that many countries. You've
yeah,
got
just
Kuwait, Angola, Burkina Faso, Djibouti, Uganda, United Arab Emirates close in 20 days. So yeah, basically, yeah, there are definitely windows that are
yeah.
closing. So you're quite
But
right. So Turkey's
I
2 more
don't
weeks.
want, I don't want any of our players going to my little Cyprus. No, 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 no. They can not go there. I don't want them in any of the Cyprus clubs.
What? None of them free players, or no players at all for
No,
Tottenham.
no, none for Tottenham need to. None of our deadwood needs to go to poor little Cyprus. Their clubs are small and suffer as it is. Bless them. Don't need to make them suffer any further.
Right. So sorry, I've got Mark. Mark, I've just commented back to you. Sorry, we go to Mark. Right. He says, "Am I doing the memory thing this week? I've got a good one this week. Yes, I will do it. Mia, I do something now. I started it last week called Guest Corner.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so I will do it. I will do it after. So everyone in the chat or whoever comes on will do Guest Corner. Mark, because Mark did it last week. And put one in there. And I think it was all about Gary Mabbott, the one he did last week. But then Mark also commented on the second one, and I said in the show quite clearly, I said we can only do one in each show, because otherwise we'll run out of thoughts and views, because everyone's gonna have a different thought and a view. So we will do guest corner. Uh, and obviously, because Mia will have a go at it as well, and Mark, you can then have another go as well. So yes, also sorry, I'll say hello to Barbaric. Good afternoon, Barbaric. Good afternoon, Bobby K. Good afternoon, Carl, and obviously good afternoon, Mark. So yeah, because I'm a very small man in a big pond, which is YouTube, and I'm fully aware that all the big massive channels are currently live, and I was just absolutely bored and wanted to come on and just do something because I had time on my hands. So thank you very much for joining me in the chat, and Mia, thank you for joining me as well.
No worries. We're all
Um,
just sitting at home waiting for news, aren't we? Let's be honest.
I was watching it earlier on Sky Sports, um, and I don't know whether I've lost the fun of it or not, but I used to really sit there like glue watching it. I haven't really bothered this time round. I mean, I'm sitting down doing this. I'm not really following Sky Sports or anything at all, like I normally would do. I'm just bored of it all. I suppose it's because I know what to expect today,
Yeah.
or I think I know what I'm going to expect today. So
Yeah, no, it is a tricky one. I do feel all transferred out. I'm not going to lie. After reporting on it all summer, I do feel like I will be glad once it's closed and I don't have to talk about transfers for a while
so
again.
so will
Because,
your channel will your channel calm down, or are you still going to be putting out content, Mia? Because
oh
how
no,
many was you going out twice a day?
no, I was
Well,
doing my transfers every day, and then I was going like doing my lives as well 3 times a week. But what I'm doing now is I'm going to be going 5 o'clock
yeah,
after the matches on a Sunday, depending
yeah,
obviously on what day we play. If it's a Sunday game, I'll do it on Monday, and then for the preview, I do a Thursday
yeah,
at 5 o'clock live. So I'm only doing 2 lives now a week. And if there is any other things I want to talk about, I can just do a random live like I have been. I've been doing a couple of random updates, the transfers, but yeah,
yeah,
that will be me. That'll be it. And I'll get people on, of course, and have
yeah.
guests and talk about the games and stuff.
Because I've logged I've gone into yours this week, and you've been on. You're at least on at least one morning this week because I know I was logged into it.
Yeah. Yep,
So
I was on.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that's what I was going to say because I knew you were doing the 5 o'clock slots. Um, but yeah, something must have come because I definitely logged into the other morning. I know that, and it was this week. Um,
Yep.
but yeah, it's good. If it's keeping you busy, it's keeping you busy. Um,
Yeah.
so what did Barbaric say here? Right, I was really excited with Angie's knowledge of the Asian market, the club trying to say Johnson was a priority target and going for Kelly is what Ange wants. Give us a break, is what Barbaric is saying. Um, I think we've discussed. All right, Johnson's coming. We, I've said there's going to be a knock-on effect because Paulinho apparently, if you believe everything that's going on, Paulinho's gone to Bayern. Uh, the deal's been agreed at 60 million. He's gone over to talk to him and have a medical. If that then happens, they're saying that Pierre will go to Fulham as his replacement, and where Fulham are prepared to do a deal transfer and not just a loan, they're prepared to do a deal and pay money. And then that would get Conor Gallagher in. From comments, I mean, unless you know anything different, me, from what I was hearing this
Well,
morning, go on.
from what I heard is Højbjerg doesn't think that he doesn't think he's too good for Fulham. He
Okay,
wants to go to a club that he feels like he's worth to go to a big club. He's got a right ego apparently, so he don't want to go to Fulham.
but do you think he's one of the players that Ange has spoken to already in the past? I said, look, he might not be one of the players that he said, get your agent to start looking for clubs for you. But do you think he's had that conversation with you, say, look, you're not going to be a first team starter for me regular?
Yeah, I would have thought so. I
Because
definitely think he would have been spoken to, and he knows he's not going to be the first guy for a first teamer. But he's got a bit of a big head to say he feels like he's too good for Fulham, man. Like, what is up with that? Does he not watch himself play? Does he watch another player play when he plays, or what?
well,
Like, it's a bit crazy that he thinks he's too good.
if you look at his journey, he came from Bayern Munich, went to Southampton, which you could say is a downward step, then went up to Tottenham, which you could say is an upward step, and now he's probably thinking, well, I've gone back up. Why would I want to go back down? I don't know. I don't know because I'm not in his mind, so I don't know.
I mean, I get it if he wants to play first team, but the way it's come across, I don't think has given him very good light on him. I think it sounded a little bit, I don't know, just not very good to think that he wants to be in the top six, like a top big side. Like, he ain't that good that he feels like he's one of the top players. Like, that's why you weren't wanted at the bigger club.
Yeah. I'm not saying you got hate for him and all that. I'm not going to say that at all.
No,
But have you always been opposed to Hoiberg, or is it just now
no,
recently? Or
it's
have you
probably.
always thought they weren't good enough?
I thought he was fine in a more defensive style, although it frustrated the hell out of me when Conte played him and Skip together. It just doesn't work at all. But and obviously now we've got Postecoglou. I said instantly, I don't think he works in the system
Yeah.
because of the type of player that he is, and I don't want any players that are gonna not be good enough for the team. Like it needs to be players that we know that Ange will find that are suitable. Basically, they're suitable for him. And now he's shown his true colours by that attitude and also by not taking a penalty. He didn't step up for a penalty, and everyone says, oh, he bangs his chest, he loves the club, he gives it all, he's a Viking. Well, he didn't want to step up for a penalty, and it kind of made me see him in a bit of a different light as well. I'm like a bit like, I'm not so sure about you.
Hmm. Right. Sorry. Ornstein has just clipped whatever he did earlier. So Ornstein tweeted 25 minutes ago, but he's now tweeted 1 minute ago. He's saying the fee Tottenham Hotspur have agreed to pay Nottingham Forest for Brendan Johnson is actually 47.5 million fixed with no add-ons included. And the deal also has a 10% sell-on clause to Nottingham Forest.
Okay,
Trade the
interesting.
world, isn't he? Okay, so because initially he's turned around 25 minutes ago, Ornstein said the deal for the 22-year-old is worth 45 million plus add-ons, 5 years plus a 1 year deal in place. And now he's, as I said, he's just retweeted again a minute ago saying what I just said: 47.5 million fixed with no add-ons and a 10% sell-on clause has been included. So that is what the latest is on him. A couple of other things. Nicolas Pepe from Arsenal just come through 1 minute ago. It's been confirmed. Contract officially terminated. He's now free to join whatever club he wants. So someone like him, who they bought for £72 million, who would have been on far more money than Eric Dyer's on, far more than what Lloris is on. I'm not sure whether they would have paid him, but no, Arsenal, they may have paid him as much as Endon Bailey, but they've ripped up his contract. So
I
it
don't know
just
how
goes
long
to
he
show.
had left. I don't know how long he had left, and obviously he has to agree it. That's the thing, though. He has to agree it, and if it's like 80% they paid or 70%, again,
Yeah,
he has to agree. And it's the fact that the players then they don't agree to it. That's your problem.
yeah, yeah. So I've got Bobby here as well saying yes to Johnson. Wicked. What a great way to reinvest Kane money. One for the future.
Yeah, but he's being sarcastic because he's got the rolling eye
Yeah, I
emojis.
know he's got. I know. I just thought I'd read it out. Barbaric Disdain. Todd Bowley is on Auto Trader, buying all the Lamborghinis. Levy's on there buying all the Cat S and Cat N's. Uh, Mark Cousins. What about the ketchup bloke from Southampton? Heard something earlier,
Yeah,
and
Bella Ketcher. I think that's been one we've been linked with, but I don't know how strong or good the link is.
Barbaric Disdain saying Bella Ketchup is a decent centre back. Now, what I will say, I saw on Twitter earlier, is that the deal for Bella Kotchap, wherever he was going yesterday, the deal fell through, and I can't remember what club it was, but the deal fallen through. I think it was a German club, and it fallen through. But today, there was on Twitter earlier, it was saying that Bayern Munich are now linked with him. So that's what it was saying earlier. So I'm not sure. And Bobby K has got a question for you, and it's
I
there.
don't I don't hate Højbjerg. I just want better players, Bobby. Like I just think I want players that are better in our club, and he isn't good. We saw what rubbish he played in the cup. It was absolutely diabolical. So for me, he's not good enough. Get him gone.
Fair enough. There's your answer, Bobby K. Um, so going back to centre backs, then. So we're linked with this Lloyd fellow. We're saying Tosin and Pershaw's. Are they the only three probably that we're linked with now? Do you see
Not
any
Tosin. Tosin doesn't want us. He's an Arsenal supporter. He don't want us. He's avoiding coming to us at all costs. So
yes,
forget him.
I saw your comment.
Forget
Sorry.
him.
Yeah, you reminded me. I saw your comment earlier. Yeah. I saw you doing that because I said you can swear on my channel. It's all right. It's not a problem. um, do you think anybody is going to appear from the woodworks or at this late? Well, in the last 9 hours, eight and a quarter hours, in fact. Do you think anyone will appear or any name will jump out to surprise us all?
Mm, Do you know what? Do you know what one I've just looked? I've just saw a little link with again is Gift Alban. Now, if that came out of the wood, if that came out as a shock one, I think we would all be like, "What the hell?" But I don't think it's going to happen. I really, really don't. I don't know if it was a bit of a joke if someone put it on there and it wasn't true, but I don't think we're going to get that one done. So no, I don't think there will be any surprises. I'm going to be honest.
Because they got through last night. Genk or Ghent,
Yeah.
whatever team he plays for, they got through their round last night. Only just about though. Had to go into extra time or something, but only just about got through. But they did get through because there's a lot of jiggery pokery people saying, yeah, Gift Orban can be done on the transfer deadline day because prior to that they've got to get through their Europa qualifying, and that was always going to be the day before. So yeah, they got through last night, so it could be. Right, he's come back to you.
Um, well, I mean, I've got Romero still, so don't you worry. There's always Romero. I watched a video of him the other day when him and Emerson had a bet and he lost the bet, so he had to get breakfast for Emerson. Oh, his little face, he's so gorgeous. He was like smiling and and they did like a close up of his gorgeous face. I was just like, oh, he can bring me breakfast any day of the week.
Yeah. Mark's just said, Ledley King, get your boots on because we need a centre back. Ledley would play for free. You wouldn't have a problem with Ledley, contracts or otherwise. Ledley was just a one-man club legend. So, yeah. Right. So, who's this? Paul O'Keefe, 1 minute ago. Atletico currently decided on a loan bid for Højbjerg with an obligation. Tottenham are awaiting the communication soon.
Ooh.
So that's come out from Paul O'Keefe 1 minute ago.
Yeah, because they can't afford to buy him outright. So I think an obligation to buy is actually a very good idea, along with an obligation, because then we know next year he'll be gone because they're going to have to buy him.
It depends how much the obligation to buy is. What's he got? 2 years left on his deal, Højbjerg?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't care. Let him go. If it's an obligation for 25 mil, that's perfect. Let him go.
Right. So Alistair Gold has now responded back to Paul O'Keefe and said, for those asking, the deadline to sign him in order to play tomorrow would have been 12 p.m. today with all the paperwork submitted. So they're talking about Højbjerg here because he's on. Alistair Gold has responded back to Paul O'Keefe's thread 9 seconds ago. So Brendan Johnson's medical at Tottenham is scheduled to take place between 4 and 5 p.m. today ahead of a late night announcement. Sky Sport, Talk Sports are now confirming what we already know. What's his name? Roberto De Zerbi is talking in his press conference, and no people have asked him questions not just about the game, but they've asked him about Ansu Fati. And his first words were, "We are very pleased. He is a big player." I think they've done well there in getting him.
They have, but it'd be interesting to see because he is quite injury prone and they're
Yep.
paying a massive amount of his wages. So if he gets injured and they're paying his wages, it could end up not being so great for them. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. He's a good player, but he is injury prone.
Yeah. I mean, as I'm saying, he's trying to resurrect himself, isn't he? So if he does stay injury free, then and he plays well and he fits the system and that, then he's only going to put himself above the parapet for next season, whether to go back to Barcelona or whether they can even sell him on. Although in order to sell him, they're going to have to take out his release clause because his release clause at the moment stands at £1 billion or €1 billion.
Wow.
It's 1 billion. I know it's €1 billion or £1 billion at the moment. That's what Barca inserted into his contract. So there's no way that they're going to get that kind of money. But they've got them with all their top players, all their youngsters. And well, mind you, saying that they had it with Messi as well. Messi had something like a 780 million release fee clause, which obviously expired because he his contract run down and they couldn't re-sign him. So, but yeah, with others like Gavi, Pedri, Balde, and people like that, they've got serious like release fee clause, Barcelona and them players. So there we go. Right, I'm trying to see if there's anything more happening in the world of football. Ryan Isaacs, Gallagher, CB, and tease me with Gift Orban. So he's saying that he would like to have Gallagher and a centre back and be teased with Gift Orban. Orban, do you know what? Orban, you spoke about him earlier. Orban's not one that would surprise me. And it really
Really?
wouldn't. Yeah, it wouldn't, because I reckon that with the links that we've had with him in the past and that, and I know it's all gone quiet, but with them getting through last night and that, I think that there a deal that could be had.
Yeah, he agreed. I think he agreed in terms as well. I think terms have been agreed on the players' side. I don't think it's an issue. So it would be down to the fee. But I heard we didn't want to pay what they
Hey, that's right.
wanted.
That's right. I think
So
we wanted to pay 30 or something, or 30 or 35, but they'd gone to 40. But when you then step away from the deal, Mia, which was what we've done, what would you say? We stepped away 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago?
yeah, something like that.
Okay, and now it's deadline day. If you went back in and you compromised, so you didn't meet them at their end, but you compromised, could a deal still be done?
Yeah, I reckon so.
Yeah, and that's what
Especially if we saved a little bit of money on other players here and there, we could definitely push it a little bit more, I guess.
no way. No, this is not right.
What?
Fabrizio Romano 14 minutes ago. So, because I keep refreshing, says Ibrahim Sangare to Nottingham Forest. Here we
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Agreement in place for PSV for 35 million package, including add-ons. Sangare will travel later after deal in place, as reported. Personal terms also agree.
Yep, I
Vladi,
saw that.
Vladi Dominos is on his way, and Hudson Odoi has completed a medical.
Yeah, I saw
Bloody hell.
that.
I mean, I don't know if you heard me earlier. I don't think you did, but earlier on, when I first started to stream off me out, I was sitting here just bemused, and I just sat here and I was rambling on, and I was saying a year ago, I not on YouTube. Well, no, I did put it on YouTube because I was watching everyone's channels and I was putting it on at the time. Last summer, I was calling out for Mohamed Kudus. So regardless of who's our manager, I was calling out for Kudus. He's a youngster that I think is a great footballer. And he's got plenty of potential as well. Not only is he good now, but he's got plenty of potential. And now I see that Kudus has gone for 38 million to West Ham, and I think to myself, where does he not fit in our system? I think he fits our system perfectly. I'm looking at Diaby, 50 mil to Villa, and I'm thinking to myself, doesn't he fit our system as well? Then I look at Scott going to Bournemouth for 20 million, 5 million add-ons, and I'm thinking to myself, young upcoming player who you build, well, he's one for the future as well, and probably have sell-on value if he reaches potentials. Did he not fit the mould at Tottenham as well? I'm just bemused by some of the players that have gone to other clubs, and I'm thinking to myself, why couldn't we go and get them?
Because we have a problem with outgoings. That's the problem. Because we've got players in some of the players we've got in, but we had to get rid of some, and that's been a major problem because a lot of them have put their foot down and said, "No, I'm not leaving." So to try and get the deals done was more tricky. That's the That was the thing, I think.
But to me, and I understand that side of it, but to me, and this is what I was rambling on about earlier as well, is that where are we now? Now where we are is exactly the same place we were last summer, right? Where we did 5 of our 6 deals were done early, and the 6th deal was Jed Spence, which took Levy 6 weeks to get over the line. And then after that, we were all thinking to ourselves, yeah, we've done everything nice and early. We still got a month to go, or whatever it was, or 3 weeks to go over the window. We'll do more, but we didn't. On transfer deadline day, all we did was loan out a load of players, and we got that wrong as well because we miscalculated. And it seems to be that this time round, so this is 2 summers on the trot where I can see a similar pattern. I mean, today's not finished yet, but whereby we've done a lot of our business earlier in the window, albeit that Van der Ven took 4 or 5 weeks, but most of the deals we did were early. Plus, the Veliz one happened really quickly from us hearing about it and being done. It happened in a matter of days as well. And then nothing's happened since we sold Kane. And then all of a sudden today and yesterday, there seems to be an exodus. So we're trying to get players out. And so to me, it's similar and reminiscent to last season. Before that, I would say that every season that I can remember before that, we used to do our deals lastminute.com anyway. That's it. We just used to do them right on deadline day, and we used to panic buy on deadline day. So there's no planning and there's nothing in place. And to me, I don't hear, and obviously I don't support other teams, and I know you don't either, but I don't hear of other teams saying, oh, we're in disarray because we've got to get rid of a load of players. I don't hear other teams do that. Other
Man
teams,
U, Man U had that problem. That's why they can't buy Amrabat. They've had to loan him because they couldn't get rid of Maguire. They couldn't get rid of like a load of players. The only reason they got Reguilon is because they got injuries and they got him on loan as well. They've
but
had the
that's
exact same issue.
but only because of their for them it's only because of their FFP, isn't it? Because they went and spent the money on
No, it
Hoyle.
was it's because they couldn't get players out. It was nothing to do with FFP. It's because they literally can't get their players out that they want gone. A lot
But
of their
sure,
players that they wanted to get gone, they wouldn't.
but surely in that case, they could go down the route of ripping up contracts as well, could they not?
If they chose to want to do that, yeah, but they're on big wages. Harry Maguire would cost them a lot of money to do it, same as us with Ndombele. That's the
Because
problem.
we're always in this position every season. But I don't see other teams being in this position every season. But we seem to be in that position every year. It's every year, but it's the same. It's like a
Of
rinse and
course,
repeat. And
I
and, and, I,
understand.
and
I
do you
do
know what I mean? And I find
understand what
and as fans, sorry, Mia, as fans, we all find it really difficult. And it's not, everyone finds it difficult, and that's why you get people berating the club because everyone finds it difficult, don't they? So
I understand the thing about it is you're like how much you kind of understand how a business side of things work versus being a fan and wanting what you want as a fan. There's a difference. So I can see it from being a fan's point of view, and that it's very, very frustrating and annoying that this has occurred. And it is down to the club because they put these players on these wages,
yeah,
they give them the contracts. It is 100% down to them. But I can also see it from a business point of view, as in you've got to understand how with businesses it isn't as clear cut as what some people make it out to be.
yeah,
So I can understand from that point of view also.
you've got to meet the balance sheet, the P&Ls at the end of the year. You've got to do all that, and I understand that. But I'm just saying, as a fan base, we all get frustrated. We're not looking at the business side of it because we're all football fans. We're not looking at the business side of it. We're just frustrated every year. We seem to be frustrated by it. I do understand the business side of it, but I'm just talking just about a normal fan and just
Yeah,
being frustrated by it.
but as a fan, that's what I'm saying. You've got to separate your, like, you can say yeah you're frustrated and everything because as a fan of course, but if you're being sensible and trying to be reasonable, you'd understand that yes, we're not going to look at it maybe from a business point of view, but you have to when it comes to this because ultimately it is a business thing. So
Yeah,
like to be more balanced in your point of view, you have to see it maybe from both ends.
yeah. I'm not putting a point of view across. I'm just saying I think
And
fans are
I'm just
frustrated. Yeah,
saying,
yeah, no, yeah, yeah.
I'm just
Right.
saying.
Sorry, we got Bobby K. Breaking news: Dyer to get 10-year extension, made captain, and finally sees how fantastic he is and is world class. Levy keeps his love child. We are awesome. Followed by Bobby's not stopped. Don't worry, guys. Saudi League window open another week. Dyer going to El Nasser for 80 million. The Saudi window's actually open for another 22 days, Bobby. There is hope. It's not just a week.
Can we do a GoFundMe and we can try and get a plane for all of our deadwood and just chuck them on there to Saudi?
What do you mean? Would we just fund them a plane with parachutes and just let them go out over Saudi,
Yeah,
find their
just
own way. I want them to be
find their
safe.
own way.
Yeah, I want them
Yeah,
to be
no, of
safe as well.
course.
So give them parachutes and that, and then
Yeah,
just
yeah,
let them
no,
find their own way.
give them parachutes and
Yeah,
a little bit of food and water, and then yeah, let them go on their merry way.
Yeah, we could do that. Barbarek's come in and said Maguire has 2 years left. West Ham offered him 100 grand a week, and Man United offered to pay 100 grand a week for the first year if he left, but he refused.
Exactly, exactly. That's my point. Barbaric disdain just like prove what I was trying to say. Basically, it isn't just our players that do it. And Maguire's done the exact same thing and put his foot down, man. With that sort of deal, he was like, "Nope, I want to stay."
Yeah, right. So yeah, he doesn't want to go, but he's not the only one. There's other people that don't want to go as well, isn't there? So I don't know. Right, so what does it say? We need a couple more. They're saying here, so they're not just happy with Johnson, but a lot of people on Twitter are saying that we need a couple more in. No one's mentioning any names, they're just saying we need a couple more, which is
But you
probably
know
right.
what, right? Twitter isn't the best place to try and um, gauge the feelings of fans because there's a lot of people on there who like to be miserable for miserable sake on there, and and there's also a heck of a lot of people who aren't very stable with their opinions, let's
Yeah,
just say.
yeah,
And so this is why I don't have Twitter, because honestly, it's just an absolute cesspit. Don't take notice of what people on Twitter say. They're not. I don't think that covers the fan base and the opinions of the whole fan base. I don't think you can get a very good gauge of what people are actually saying. To be honest with you, because if you talk to people in the stands, if you go to games, people in the stands completely different to what people on Twitter say.
yeah. I mean, what I'm doing is I'm just looking at these. So I've got Ornstein, O'Keefe, Romano, and stuff like that. I've got them, and I'm looking at what their comments are, and then seeing what people are putting into them comments. And that's what I'm reading from. I'm not just pulling up anybody as account saying he's saying this and he's saying that. It's just a couple of people
Yeah.
that replied to Ornstein, to O'Keefe, and to Romano on their tweets that they've done. Right, Brentford, what? 51 minutes ago, Brentford reached verbal agreement to sign Neil Maupay on a loan with a buy option from Everton. Maupay used to play for them, didn't he? Before he went to Brighton.
Yeah.
Yeah, Neil Maupay
Yeah.
played for Brentford. He played for Brentford the same time that God, who else? They had the front three, didn't they? Maupay was one of the front three. Um, Ollie Watkins. It was Ollie Watkins,
Ollie, yeah.
Neil Maupay, and I can't remember the third player. But I didn't realise. So Everton have agreed to let him go to Brentford. Uh,
Mopo
on
Mopo
a
would be forever in the legendary status for me for what he did to when with AFTV. You're a cheat, and I hope you get relegated. That was so funny.
yeah. So yes, that's another one that's done. I mean, Everton have let go of what's his name? Iwobi today. So
Yeah.
Iwobi's left Everton and gone to Fulham for 22 million. And I can't remember who Everton were looking to bring in, but Everton are looking to bring somebody in. Um, Wilfred Nonto from Leeds. But
Oh yeah, yeah.
Leeds say they want 35 for him. And at the moment, Fulham are trying to structure something. Sorry,
He's
Everton are trying to structure something because they haven't got that money because of FFP.
he wants to leave. He's kicking up a bit of a fuss at Leeds, saying that he wants to leave
Yeah,
because my
he's a good little player. Under 21 international for Italy. He's a good little player.
mm,
I thought he was good when I watched him last season.
yeah, apparently because my friends who's a Leeds supporter was saying that he's acting like a bit of a what's it 'cause he wants to go, so he's really like putting his foot down and being like, "No, I'm not playing," and he's trying to push his way out.
With him though, I think what's happening is that everything's happening really fast for him. He's gone to Leeds. I think he went to Leeds. He left the club in Italy, went to Leeds because Leeds got into the Premiership, and he thought that would well, I don't think he signed for Leeds ever thinking that Leeds would get relegated in the first season that he's there. But I think he signed for Leeds to raise his profile and to see if he could break into that Italian squad, which he has done when he was at Leeds. But now that he's dropped down to the Championship, I think I'm not in his mind, but I think he fears for his international spot now at this present time. Not that he's got years ahead of him, but he fears for his spot now, and therefore he thinks he needs to be playing in the top league or in a top league in order to get back into uh, the national plans for Italy. Bearing in mind they've just lost their manager as well, and they've got a new manager, so it's someone new to impress. I mean, that could be going through his mind. I'm not sure. So, right, Bobby K, maddening that a player has to agree to a buyout. If we get fired, that's it. You're out the door. You go. If you're lucky, you get compensation. These players can say no. You're not allowed to fire me. It's crazy. Exactly right. It's exactly right. And barbaric disdain. I was a '60s baby, and grew up with no internet, social media, and mobile phones. Likewise, barbaric. Twitter, etc., is a complete mess with keyboard warriors. Social media is just a platform to give bullies a voice. Totally agree.
Do you know, my generation is a funny one because we grew up with no internet as well, and then we did get internet. Obviously, I had dial up first of all.
Yeah.
So it's funny because I kind of grew up with both sides. I've grew up without anything, and now I've obviously we've got everything social media wise and technology wise. So yeah, my generation are a funny one because we've had both.
So what I'll say to Barbaric, because obviously Barbaric and I have grown up in a totally different era to you, Mira, to you, Mia, sorry. Um, Barbaric, do you remember when we had the phones at home? So I was one of the babies that didn't have the six-digit code. So when you rang someone up, you'd say, I don't know, Westminster, and then you'd give your six-digit or four-digit code, and you got put through that way. When I had a phone, it was when it was the '01 number for London and stuff like that, and then you had your regional first three digits, and then you had four digits thereafter. But with the phones that we used to have back in the day, and I don't know whether you remember Barbaric, but we used to have them in the phone boxes as well. You used to go in and you used to tap on the phone. They used to have where you used to put the receiver down. They used to have two prongs, and if you tap the prongs and you tap the numbers correctly in sequence, it would dial up that number for free for you. So if your number was 821, like my home number was 821 7497, you'd have to tap 8 times, stop, then two, stop, then one, stop. And if you did that correctly, you could actually contact somebody without having to pay for the phone call. It was a cheat that people we used to do back in the day.
Wow, that's cool. I remember phone boxes. I remember Joe, what? I remember the days of having to call your friend on a house phone, tell
Yeah,
them where you're meeting, go there and wait. And if they didn't turn up, you'd have to ring their house phone, ask their mum if they've left or not,
yeah.
and just continue waiting. And if they didn't turn up still, you just had to go home because there's no other way to contact them. So you had to just go home.
Even with phones, right? Even though homes started getting phones when I was a kid, we always used to, or as a boy, I used to go and play out. My sisters went and played that as well, but I used to go and play in the cage. So I grew up in London on an estate that had a football cage, and that's where we learned how to play football. It's a bit like what the South London kids do nowadays as well. But I lived in Westminster, and playing football in the cage, wherever you went when you came out your house, we didn't phone each other up. All we did was whistle, and we all knew who was whistling just from whistling, and that's how we contacted each other, just by through whistling. It was absolute madness. But Barbarec's come back from my comment and says, "Yeah, I remember that. I used to tap those at home when my mum put the phone lock on. So back in the day, I don't know if you remember me. You can see me do it. You remember we used to have a dial phone. So it weren't buttons. It
Yeah.
was a dial phone. It used to go round, and it used to go, and as it came back round. So if you pressed eight, you'd go round, and you'd hit the thumb joint, and it would roll back round again. And as it rolled back round again, you'd hear the phone go when it's rolling back. So what people did in order to curb phone bills, they used to put these locks on the phone. So when you try to turn the dial wouldn't turn because it's got a lock on it. And that's why we had to start using tap, and that's how we got around it by using tap. So yeah, so barbaric disdain's quite right. Parents used to put phone locks on the phone, but we still got
Well,
away. We still got away with
Well,
it.
I didn't have one of those phones at home. My nanny had one of those phones that you twist round,
Yeah,
and my nanny was the one who supported Tottenham. Actually, she's the reason
superb.
me and my brother support Tottenham because of her. But yeah, she had one of those phones that you did that with. But yeah, at home we didn't. We just had the normal button dial ones when I was a kid. But yeah.
And
Oh,
and
I
this,
did. I remember, like I say, some things like we used to have LPs. The first music I had was on
yeah,
LP.
45s
I
and
never.
33s. Yeah, we had all that.
Yeah. So I do remember like a lot of stuff. Like I took my kids to the science museum, and they
Okay.
saw the play like the player for the LP. Like they say, "What's one of those? What's an LP?" They were getting really confused. They were like,
Uh,
"That's weird."
It
So
was
I
a
was
record player.
explaining to
Yeah,
them,
it's
yeah,
a
the
record
record
player.
players. They were like,
Turntable record player.
but that's weird. And also the old video players, not the video players that we had, but the Betamax. Is it
Yeah,
Betamax
yeah, yeah.
one?
Betamax and VHS.
Yeah, the Betamax ones. And I was like, yeah, that's how we used to watch stuff, you know. We used to have it on tape and then we had to actually rewind it. And then that used to take ages sometimes to rewind stuff back to the beginning. I was like, you don't even know, you didn't ever have to experience that because they only
Yeah.
had DVDs and CDs by the time they were kids. So,
Right. So just say the Spurs Express have said Tottenham believe that a move from Atletico for Højbjerg could arrive in these last hours of the market. Now that Athletic have had some departures, and that's come from Matti Moretto. So
okay,
he's saying that Athletic have had some players leave, which has now freed up the space, and they reckon that a deal could be done with Tottenham, and that was 7 minutes ago.
good, good.
And another one that's just coming. Oh no, it's not. It's the 28th of August. Here we go. Cancelo to Barcelona. Well, I must have missed that one. So anyway, right. So what I'm going to do is because Mark's still in here, I'm going to go and see. Did I have the banner on it? I think I did. And Mia, you're going to have to start us off. Um, right, here we go. Guest corner. Right, guest corner, Mia, as I said earlier, is a thing that I'm going to do on the show where each per guest and individuals as well can comment on one abiding memory that you have about Tottenham. You've probably got loads, but it's just one that we want for now that you might have on why you support Tottenham, what made you support Tottenham, or a game that you just remember and for a poignant reason or whatever. And everyone's got their own individual one. So, what would yours be?
My first one's going to actually be the 2008 Cup game because I went with my brother. I didn't know at the time, but I was actually pregnant with my first son, and I
Okay.
didn't know it at the time. But we went and watched it in the pub, and obviously beating Chelsea and actually winning something. Like, obviously, I haven't seen much of that in my lifetime. So that is a memory that I really hold dear, especially because, like I say, that year I didn't even know that I was about to become a mum as well. So not only did I become a mum that year, it was a year that Tottenham actually won a trophy.
Fantastic. Now,
And
that is
against Chelsea scum as well. So that made it even sweeter. That little bit sweeter because it was against Chelsea. So yeah,
so
that
that
last minute goal.
so that is definitely something to well, that's definitely to have a memory for. Bloody hell. Yeah, that's a good one to have, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ooh. Right, so I'm hoping that Mark Cousins is still here. Because if Mark's here, Mark, you can have a turn now because Mark's the one that's been screaming for this because he loved it last week. So, and it's the first thing he said when he came in. Are you going to do that guest corner again? Yeah, I am, because it's something I said I would do every time I come on. So, but other than that, afternoon, Adrian, who's in the chat now, Barbaric has turned around and said, although I don't know that this is abiding memory, but he said, my first ever Tottenham game was at home in 1971, and it was a 4-1 win over Huddersfield. So that's his, but I don't know whether that's his comment or not. Um, right, I'm trying to, I can't do this. So what I'll do, I'm just going to put the link in here because Adrian's here and he probably want to come on. I haven't got his number, so Let me post it in there.
But yeah, that's something that obviously is always stuck with me, seeing as that that was a good times when we actually
Yeah.
won something.
Adrian, I've put the link out there. So if you want to join, you can join because I haven't got you. So I haven't got you on my chats. So if you want to come on, you can come on. Barbaric has turned around and said, hold on, as a baby. As a baby, my mother told me I would sleep. Told me I would sleep unless I hadn't. Okay, right. So it wouldn't. Okay, so he's now copied it underneath. As a baby, my mother told me I wouldn't sleep unless I had a Spurs shirt and a football under my cot. So it was written in stone to be a yid. Oh, yeah,
Do you know
barbaric.
what? When my boys were little, from the get go, they had bottles, they had bibs, they had baby grows, all Tottenham. My children, I told them they're either Tottenham or they're out of my house. So my kids literally had zero choice in the matter.
So when my oldest, who is now 37, she was she was in a previous relationship, but her mum was an Arsenal supporter, and obviously I'm Tottenham, and my daughter went on to play for Arsenal girls back in the 80s, early 80s, in the 90s. She played for them in the late 90s, um, and she became Arsenal. But then I had two boys, one who's 35 and one who's 30 now, and off their own bat, watching their dad. Here is Adrian. Afternoon, Adrian.
Afternoon, Mia. Afternoon, Elton.
Hey,
All right, mate.
Adrian.
So, so with the boys, yeah, they saw their dad following Tottenham and take them to games and all that. And my son, the older one, the 35-year-old, went out and got himself a tattoo on his forearm. From it's the whole. It covers the whole of his forearm, the inside of his forearm, and he's got the cockerel with the ball, absolutely everything. And he was getting on trains, travelling through London, wearing short sleeve tops on purpose so people could see he was a Tottenham supporter. An absolute lunatic. And my other boy ended up buying Real Madrid kits. He went away from Tottenham and ended up buying Real Madrid kits. Although he didn't really play and follow football much, he ended up Real Madrid. And my two youngest ones, they don't care about football at all, to be honest. So,
See,
right.
even if my kids didn't care about football, I told them if you can absolutely not care about football, but if you're going to support anyone, you support Tottenham. Otherwise, no, it's not happening. In my house, we have loyalty only, and we make sure you support my team, or that's it. Like literally, I don't have any of this supporting other team nonsense in my household. We don't even have red. We don't even have stuff that's red in my house. We literally avoid the colour red.
Yeah, so you've got Barbaric Stone who's agreeing with you.
There we
He's
go.
saying parenting at its finest, respect Mia. I'm going to come to you, Adrian, and we've got Mark Cousins who's now saying this is my other one from last week, the 1991 Cup final when when a certain captain lifted the cup, and I was 2 months out of hospital with the same condition. So last week you told me all about Gary Mabbott, and so last week's one was all about Gary Mabbott and him finding out that Mark was diabetic, if I remember rightly. That's what Mark said, and that he found out that Gary Mabbott had the same condition, and he found it amazing that that he could play football throughout the condition. So this is his second one because he had one last week, and this is his second one. And then I've got Barbaric Disdain, who is our age group, Adrian. With respect, Jose and Adrian on screen together, it's like the good-looking version of the two Ronnies.
They're both dead.
So, Adrian, welcome. How are you, mate?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm very well. I mean, I'll be glad when the transfer window closes, and we see what business we get done. Looks like Brennan Johnson's a done deal. Remains to see if we'll get Conor Gallagher, who I like, or even Lloyd Kelly, who I went to have a look at actually yesterday when he first got mentioned. I thought, who is this guy? He's our 15th choice. I'll make a list of centre backs. He's our 15th choice. But prior to injury, he's like 6'2", 6'3", just a slightly short of 6'3", I think. He's very fast, left-footed centre back, can play at left back, so I can see his versatility. He went to Bournemouth from Bristol. he looks decent. He does look decent, you know. But we'll see. We'll see if we get him. Obviously, they want more money. They want more than 20 mil. Might end up more than 30 mil. But I think the money's there if Højbjerg decides to move. I think the money will be there. When people
For who?
talk
For
about
who?
that,
Adrian, for who? If Højbjerg moves, who's the money going to be there for?
I think it'd be for Conor Gallagher.
Okay, because you were talking about the defender, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah, and Lloyd Kelly, I mean, he's a bit of a new one thrown in the air, but apparently a little bit of research. We were looking at him before he had a bit of an injury at Bournemouth, and we have looked at him before. This isn't although it is a sort of last ditch one as well, because obviously we'd have preferred Tapsoba and Adarabiro probably before him, but he's young enough. I think he's 24, whatever. So he can't. Well, the way I look at it, get him in. He can't be worse than Dyer, can he? Tanganga, Sanchez, and he's left-footed, which is a big bonus for us. So I think get him if we can. If we don't, we don't. I mean, it just means that. Well, see, fans were going on there talking about, oh, if we get another quality centre back in, they ain't going to come because we got Van der Ven and Romero. No, that's the wrong way to think. When you bring another quality centre back and you say, look, we've got a minimum of 40 games this season, played 3 already. You can give a new quality centre back, you can guarantee them 20 games. So you can say, no, if you come in, we'll rotate you to encourage them to come. And then you say, like, and then we've got Ashley Phillips as 4th choice. Dorrington's a bit too young. He's just been called up for the under-19s England squad. So he's a bit young. Good potential, but he's a bit young, yeah? So you can go that way. So I don't know. I mean, I want. It looks like Brennan Johnson's. He's going to have his medical, so and he wants
Can
to
I
come.
just make a quick point before I go, Adrian? Is that I don't really agree with you, because with centre backs, you want the pairing to become a strong pairing, and the only way to do that is to keep playing the same pair, like we did with Jan and with Toby. To keep swapping out the back 4 just to give a player time, I just don't think it's feasible when we have only got 40 games. Like we're going to have 40 games to swap them out for half of them. I just don't think it's going to happen. I feel like that's not going to.
Yeah,
I feel like
about every other game there. What I'm talking about, you don't know how we're going to fare with injuries and suspensions, and you don't know when players. Van der Ven is very young. I mean, if players are in the red zone, they have to be rested.
Yeah, they have to be rested. Obviously, I'm going to not disagree, but we're going to have 1 game a week. So how much rest do they really? It's not like they're going to be playing for 2 games a week. They're playing 1 game a week. It's really like, I feel like that. Yeah, we do need another centre back, but we've got to be mindful that it's unlikely they're going to get a lot of games. So the type of player we're going to get in is going to have to be someone who is going to have to hold the bench for quite a bit. Probably it's unlikely that they're going to get an amount of time, and you can't promise time if you know they're not going to get it. That's your problem with getting a centre back in.
No, I get your argument, but my view is, like, if you want to bring someone in of quality, depending if the Spurs consider Lloyd Kelly a quality centre back, I don't know how good he is. He looks decent, but I haven't watched him enough to see. But it's like anything. If you're going to bring players in, they want to know what their role is in the side. Are they going to get game time, etc.? If you're not going to give them that, they're not going to come. So you're never going to improve the squad.
Right, so can I just Paul O'Keefe, just over a minute ago, because you were both talking. Atletico are now in direct contact with Tottenham to see if a deal for Højbjerg can be achieved. So a bit earlier, I said that the comment was that Atletico sold a couple of players. They've made room. They're going to try and go for a loan deal with an option to buy next year for Paul O'Keefe. But Paul O'Keefe's now saying that both clubs are now in direct contact with each other.
Depends on the fee, doesn't it? I mean, I think Højbjerg, as I recall, he played 35 games last season. He had 5 assists and 4 goals. And he is a workhorse in midfield. He's a bit one-dimensional, but effective at certain times, isn't he? I mean, it's like that shambles against Fulham. I mean, you're playing players that are a bit one-dimensional in that game in midfield. It would have been fine if Højbjerg and Skip could have held the midfield down, and Celso could have been the creative outlet. But Lo Celso was rubbish, and so was Højbjerg and Skip, but they weren't the only ones. The only ones that come out with credit were probably Van der Ven and Van der Ven to me, really.
But
And
if we get Gallagher, surely Gallagher's much better than what Højbjerg has to offer. I'd much rather have Gallagher than them.
Oh,
So let Højbjerg go. Let him go and get Gallagher in. Like,
but
it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, it's
So
also a question.
let me
What's
ask.
a fair value, isn't it? I mean, like,
Okay,
I mean,
hold on,
what do you
Adrian.
think
Let me ask Mia. Let me ask Mia, and then I'll go to you, Adrian. Right. I talked earlier, Adrian, that Paulinho has now gone to Bayern. He's having a medical and having a chat with them. They've agreed a 60 million fee. The domino effect was meant to be Højbjerg was going to Fulham to replace Paulinho because Fulham were prepared to pay a transfer deal, pay money for him, no loan, straight fee for him. And then from that money, I thought we were going to use that money to then go for the upgrade, which is Gallagher, because he's going to be more money than what you would have sold Pierre for. But if Atletico Madrid have now come in and they're looking for a loan with an option to buy next year, how does that affect the Gallagher deal, Mia? Does it affect it? Have we got 50 million in the coffers to just go out and spend?
Well, the thing is, though, don't forget we won't be paying it all up front either. So don't forget we can probably do a deal where we pay some of it up front. So it depends, obviously, on how much they want up front for Gallagher. So you've got to remember that that's how deals work. It isn't necessarily that we're going to have to pay 50 mil up front. It's a gradual thing. So yeah, it just depends on how much.
For argument's sake, right? Let me just say, I'm plucking figures out of the sky. I don't know this for definite. If we got 30 million from Fulham for Højbjerg, because apparently Adrian Højbjerg doesn't want to go to Fulham, but
I see that.
But
and
if it's a case,
Fulham are also in for McTominay if they can't get in.
No, Man United have already said McTominay's going nowhere. It's too late for him to do any other deals, and McTominay's staying. He's not going nowhere. So I'm just saying, if you got, let's say for argument's sake, you got 30 mil for Højbjerg, then some of that 30 mil, doesn't matter how we structured it, some of that 30 mil could have been used for Gallagher. But if it's now that he's going to go to Atletico as his preferred move, and they're going to do a loan, it means you haven't got that money to play around with in the first place. So I'm just wondering from you both, how would that affect the deal? Or have we got money in the background?
We've got money because we have got some of that Kane money that we could use that we've been given up front for Kane. Surely 15 mil out of Kane money or 20 mil out of Kane money isn't going to be the biggest deal like to put forward for Gallagher when it will be a much better player to have than Højbjerg. And I think it's going to be not an option to buy. I think it's going to be a condition to buy, basically. So we know we're going to get that money next year. That's perfectly fine because we know we're going to get that money back next year for him.
Are you in that line of thinking as well, Adrian?
Yeah. I mean, it's structured payments. I think fans get false ideas when it comes to buying and selling players. They seem to think that whenever we sell a player, we get all the money up front, and when we buy a player, we don't, right? Well, the fact is it works the same way. But as long as you can go to your bank and whatever and say, look, we've got this deal structured, you'll get the money off them, to broker a deal. You'll get it. I mean, and you don't need, I've always said when people say, we need to spend 200, you don't. If you've got 60 mil, you could put 15 mil down on 4 players that you want to buy. I mean, and clubs would bite your hand off now for 15 mil up front, especially in Europe. They would bite your hand off because they haven't got no money. Either that or they're lying and they're pleading poverty to get reduced prices on players, which I believe some of them are strong in it big time. I mean, I would value Højbjerg at 30 mil. I think he's a 30 mil player in a system at a team like Atletico. I think he would prefer to go Atletico Madrid. Obviously, they're in Europe. I think they're in Europe.
They are. They're in the chat. I think they're in the Champions, aren't they?
Right. So he would obviously want to go there. So now it's down to Simeone and his crew, isn't it? So like we'll see what happens. I mean, like if he goes and that means we get Gallagher, great stuff. That's another upgrade in the squad. And we've seen, haven't we? From Paratici, you took a lot of stick. When you look at Udogie now and Sarr and other players that have come in, even Vicaro's got his hands on the Paratici. So has Brennan Johnson got his hands on. That's a Paratici deal as well. We've seen the recruitment has improved. About time it's improved over the last season or so, though. You know what I mean? About time, but it's improved, and it'll be good. It'll be good. Like it would be good to get if we just got Conor Gallagher and we didn't get Lloyd Kelly. I want a defender, but we'll see how that one goes.
Right, the other thing that's coming out that I've got is Fabrizio Romano, and it was while you lot guys was talking, having a chat. Burnley have agreed a 31.5 million package deal for Ian Matson from Chelsea. Fee includes add-ons. There's still no green light from the player side. Chelsea would also have a sell-on clause as part of the deal. They are selling big time. So, sorry, I've got right. Soji has just come on from Come On You Spurs TV. He says, "Hey guys, great chat. Soji, I've just sent you the link if you want to come on." Mia's had to go because her battery was running out. She messaged me in the background. She says, "Thanks for having me." No,
Yeah,
you're more
cheers,
than
Mia. Good
welcome, Mia.
conversation.
And Soji, if it's you, it said, "Brennan, good signing?" Question mark. What do you reckon? And I think we might have said this already, but go on.
What to me?
Good signing, Adrian.
Well, I've watched Brennan Johnson. I usually use an eye test on videos when I watch players. I like players with vision who move the ball quickly, who can make things happen. Now, Brennan Johnson only passes one of my eye tests. He moves the ball quickly. He misses his fair amount of chances in front of goal. All right, he's young. He can improve. I mean, Kane improved, didn't he? He didn't do too well till Sherwood given that debut game when he scored in Europe, I think it was. So, yeah. So there's that. So he doesn't. But apparently we've looked at him for a while. Paratici was really keen on him. To his credit, he did score 10 goals in a season. Now, we're not talking about number 9 here. If you're a wide player and you get an average of 1 in 4 goals, that's considered good. So 9 or 10 goals a season is very good for a wide player. Maybe I think perhaps Ange will utilise him in various positions across the front three. I don't know. He might just use him in a wide position. He might use him as a ball carrying number 8. I don't know. So we'll see. Them 10 goals are impressive for a young player. So we'll see. I need to see him. I need to see him. I think we all do. He's obviously got a talent. We wouldn't be paying this money if he wasn't talented, he wasn't checked out. And they would have done the database analytics on him. I haven't seen any of that. So I can't comment on the player. We're bringing another forward come very attacking midfield player in. So obviously we all want him to do well, and we wait and see. We wait and see on him. I can't give him a glorious accolade or anything like that. I can't praise him or anything because I haven't seen enough of him.
Yeah. So Barbaric is saying, I think Brennan offers more than Kulu.
Apples and oranges. Again, we start comparing players that are totally different. Apples and oranges. If you looked at the Fulham game, I know Kulu's coming for a lot of stick. I am a big fan of Kulu, by the way, so now my colours to the mast here. But what Kulu gives you, he gives you just more than forward play. And when people say Kulu's slow, he is not. If you go and check his stats out, you'll see how fast he actually is. And remember, there's a lot of fast defenders in the Premier League. They can close a player down with the ball quicker than when a player's not got the ball and run into space. So there's that. All right, he cuts in. But if you recall, on his left foot, I get that argument as well. Right? But under Conte last year, when his form suffered when the style of play suffered, right? When we're playing an 8-3 low block, you got 3 strikers up front and we're not attacking that much, right? So when he breaks or he gets a breakaway and he runs down, there's no one there. You're now expecting a winger to go to the byline and cross a ball to no one in the box or pick one player out. But you notice with Kulu a lot of time, he does slow because he's waiting for other players to catch up. Everyone must have noticed that in games, right? And so then he might cut into the middle. Now, if he can narrow the space between him and the number 9, if it's Kane or not, he's got more chance of making an accurate pass. I mean, against Shakhtar Donetsk, for example, he put a brilliant number 10 ball through to Kane to score. And I actually see Kulu as a number 10 in the future. I could be totally wrong, right? But I see him as a number 10. But we'll see how his career goes. But he's a quality player and he'll get enough game time. And my other theory, trying to be positive, is the fact that if those front three I'm talking Son, Richarlison, and Kulu, who hasn't played great, but he's got a goal and 2 assists, right? Which is a good sign if you can play not so great and get them. If those 3 can't get goals under an attack-minded Ange system, then you do seriously start looking around to put others in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Me, personally, I think Brennan Johnson's a good player. I watched him.
Fair enough.
I've been watching him for the last 2 seasons. So I watched him in the Championship. Okay, it's the Championship, but you're marked a lot tighter in the Championship and stuff like that. And I saw him playing in the Championship, and I thought, cool, he's some player. Got speed about him and that, and he done really well. He's good at linking play. He did all that. He was a good teammate to have, so to speak. If that makes more sense. And I thought he got some speed on him, and I thought he's a good player. And he did score his fair share of goals.
Has he got many assists? And he did take some stick off of Spurs fans as well for missing that chance against Arsenal.
in the Championship, he did get assists as well, right? So, I was impressed with him. Then when I see we're linked with him, I'm thinking to myself, right, is he a type of player that would fit the Ange system? I believe he would. And I've got a theory that I had before he's come in today. I don't know if you heard me last week or about 2 weeks ago. I was saying that Postecoglou, the one thing he's done with his players, and it'll be testament for you because you go to the game. So I don't go to the stadium, so I'm watching on the telly, but you can see it firsthand when you're at the stadium, Adrian. You can see how he's coaching the players or what he's done with the players because you can see them on the pitch and you can view the whole game and see everybody, even though the ball might be down that end. You can view what the other players are doing as well. Now, I've got a feeling that in the background, before buying Brendan Johnson, this is 2 weeks ago, I turned around and I said that I feel that Kulu is being coached to play in the position he's playing at the moment, but he's also being coached to play 10.
He's so versatile, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm thinking he's being coached.
If you watch the Bournemouth game, right? Unlike Fulham, which didn't happen when things weren't going our way and they were pressing us. In the Bournemouth game, you see him when he's on our right, and there's a Bournemouth player trying to get the ball off him, and they couldn't get the ball off him. And he's even holding off with his arm raised down the touchline. At the same time, he's looking up and around, and people should study him more. Yeah. He's very mature player for his young age. He's only young, and if you go to his stats, he wins more balls back, right? So he can defend from the front.
Yeah.
Now, I get the excited winger like a Manor Solomon, who's going to be useful, probably more as an impact sub on the half hour when other teams have got tired legs. I get that. And even Perisic, who got 12 assists last year, but he weren't getting praise for much else from the Spurs fan base, was he, right? But those two don't offer you anything defensively. Now, maybe Ange doesn't want them to. I don't know. So then they get out of jail card. But Perisic last year, even when he come back in their pen, I see him get done and other teams score against us. I mean, he just doesn't give you anything defensive. I think Kulu does, and because he's so strong on the ball and he's hard to get off the ball, that's why I think he'd make a good number 10. He could probably even play with his back to goal. I'm confident he could play with his back to goal even because in the middle, because he's got very good ball control, and he's got better ball control than Richarlison and Son. Son's first touch is not always the greatest, So
yeah, so to me, I'm
for what it's worth.
I think he's being coached to play in other positions as well as the position he's playing in. Totally agree with you. I've heard people slam Kulu, saying he's been crap last year and that he hasn't started this season off well. He doesn't offer anything. And exactly what you're saying, although I'm not at the stadium, is exactly what I can see. The holding off, the strength. I can see all that. So I'm with you. I'm with you.
And look at Son, right? Son had the hernia operation. He had a later pre-season than the other players. To me, in that second half against Brentford now, I thought I start to see a bit more of the old Son. He still hasn't regained his sharpness. People are saying get rid of him. He hasn't lost a yard of pace. What he's lost a bit of his sharpness. That when he gets, Sonny's a streaky player. When he scores goals, he scores them in clusters and then he doesn't score. He's not like in every other game scorer like Harry Kane was. He gets them in clusters, and when he's at his best, he also does things instinctively without thinking about where he's going to do and when to let a shot off. He just does it instinctively, and that's when I think you see Sonny at his best. I mean, and then he does the right things and makes the right decisions, like away to Man City when he squared that ball for Kulu to get his first goal in Tottenham shirt. Which is Kulu's third game, and Kulu took stick for 2 20-minute cameos, which I thought was an absolute joke. I hope players don't indulge themselves in social media too much, otherwise they'll all have their confidence destroyed.
Yeah, true. So to me, I think, because when I was thinking about the Kulu in the 10, I was thinking more Porro game and being an attacking player. But in saying that, Porro, in the 2 games that he's played, because he played in the last 2 games, didn't play in the Brentford game, he didn't start the Brentford game. The last 2 games, you can see he's been coached.
Yeah.
Defensively, he looked much better in them 2 games than what he did all last season.
In the back of my mind, also, I've got like away to Leicester when he was disaster, don't look over his shoulder. Yeah. Away to Newcastle when he didn't look over his shoulder on the far post. Away to West Ham in a pre-season friendly when he didn't look over his shoulder in the post. And was it Barca or Shakhtar Donetsk? There was another one he didn't. Look, I want him to do well, but I'm not gonna lay my cards on the table and say he's going to be absolutely superb and great. I want him to be. I want all the players to play at a club to turn out to be, good buyers. But
where I'm getting to, Adrian, is my thoughts were to play him further up. However, with the coaching that's been done with him, I can see Porro staying where he is at the right back position, playing the inverted, because I can see the coaching and everything that's been happening already. I can see it, and to me, I'm now not thinking about Porro playing further up. I'm now thinking keep him where he is. He's being coached to play in that position. Keep him where he is. But Kulu can now cover a multitude of positions for me, and Brennan Johnson for me. When people talk about Postecoglou's Celtic, people got to look at Kyogo. Kyogo was his centre forward. Kyogo played across the line. He didn't play in the centre forward position. He played across the line. Everyone says he was a sacrificial lamb. He played himself everywhere. I believe that with Brennan Johnson, you've got fluidity there where he can go and play across the line as well. So
I hope you're right. Back to Porro and the Man United game. When I'm watching the game, because I'm still trying to get my head around Angie's system, I know the theory behind it, but what I was seeing a Porro tucked in, but I wasn't seeing a Udogie tucked in. I was seeing Udogie doing what he does best, which was bombing up and down that left-hand side, right?
Yeah.
And if that's his strength, don't change it. Don't change it. Leave it, right? But with Porro again, even though he's narrow, because 90% of goals are scored through the middle from zone 14 on a football pitch, and only 10% come from the wings, penalties, own goals, free kicks, whatever, right? So I get why teams play narrow, and when every game you see a wide tranche of grass with no one occupying it down one flank, don't you? In every game you see that in the Premier League. They play narrow to stop teams playing through the middle, But Porro against Man United, even though he's there and he had a good game, I hope it was because he was aware. I question his positional awareness and his timing at times, because Man United were coming down at our right and bombing down our right. They tried to expose us on the flanks, both flanks. And I thought at times Porro was a bit too slow to react to try and intercept what was going on, whether it was Rashford or whether it was the Dutch winger they bought. I forget his name now. The one they spent the 60, 70 million on, whatever. I forget his name now. So I think Ange likes him though. And Emerson, can he continue to improve his ceiling? His final ball, I still think, is pretty crappy, unless it's a short pass. But with Porro, he's technically a better player, isn't he? He's technically better, and he's a better passer, and he can cross a ball, and he can hit a dead ball, and he's faster. Yeah. So he gives you more than Emerson. He definitely gives you more than Emerson. It's just I'm still questioning his defensive capabilities. That's all. And I hope
Right.
I hope he becomes a great player for us. Don't get me wrong, but I question him. And like so.
So you've got Tot Spurs saying, "Hi Jose, how you doing, bud? Hi Adrian and chat. 7.5 hours of biting my nails, hoping Levy does the right thing for Ange and reinforce this squad if we can't improve it. Coys." Now, I'm just on I've got it on my iMac in front of me, so because I can't put it on this screen when I'm honest. I could do, but it's just faffing about. Right. I'm now looking at our squad, right? And as we stand at the moment, so this was done by Football.London. I think it's done by Rob Guest. As the
He's a good
goalkeeper.
guy. Yeah.
So Guesty's put down that at the moment we have 20 non-homegrown players. From that list of non-homegrown players, I think we can take off Sergio Reggie on there because he's definitely gone on loan. I'm trying to see if there's anyone else on that list.
And Belly could come off that list.
No, but I'm talking about who can come off the list. That's definitely gone. So Sergio Reguilon's definitely come off that list. So that takes us down to 19. So we're still 2 over at the moment. From the Premier League homegrown players, our current list still has 10. However, from that list, what I will say is 3 of them are goalkeepers. Now,
yeah,
Ange said a couple of weeks ago that he wouldn't be putting three goalkeepers in his squad for the 25 for the league. He wouldn't put 3 goalkeepers in there. Now, if that's the case, right, then it doesn't look like Brandon Austin or Alfie Whiteman are going to be put in the squad, right?
They're not good enough anyway, and now they're like 24 years of age or whatever, the pair of them. I mean, I've watched.
But by saying that brings you down to 8 homegrown, which is the magic number that you need to be at if you've got 17 non-homegrown. However, Tanganga, I think it's been agreed for Augsburg already. So that brings us down to 7. And them 7 would be Fraser Forster, Ben Davies, Brooklyn Lyons Foster, Ryan Sessegnon, Harvey White, Ollie Skip, and James Maddison.
Yeah.
So we would be down to 7. So if he's not going to pick them 2 goalkeepers and Jaffet's gone out, we're down to the magic number of 7, bearing in mind that the non-homegrown, we've got to bring that down by 2 still. And then we've also got to bear in mind, we've brought Brennan Johnson in.
He's homegrown.
Okay, so Brennan Johnson makes that homegrown now 8. So we're 1. So at the moment, if we want to go down to 17 non-homegrown, then we are 1 homegrown player over at the moment.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, no, we're not. No, we'd be 8. No, we're currently on 8.
That was why I kept saying to people, look, when we was in for Gift Auburn, and whether he was in for Pershers, who I wouldn't have minded, good defender, or Gift Auburn as a gamble, as a punt, I wouldn't have minded. I thought we've got to sort our homegrown out.
But with Gift Auburn, though, Adrian, with Gift Auburn, though, he's under 21, so he wouldn't come on the squad list.
True.
He wouldn't affect our squad list.
And on that same subject, you're saying non-homegrown, SAR's under 21, and Udogi's under 21. So that brings that down to level anyway.
And Veliz and Ashley Phillips. I've got the under 21s here as well. They're all under 21s.
But I don't think they'll be. I'd like to see Ashley Phillips in the main squad. So he would count as well if he is. I'd like to see him as our fourth centre back if we get another one. To be honest, Dorrington's too young.
Because you've got George Abbott as an under 21 there as well, and Matthew Craig. Yeah. They're the people that have been added as they're the notable under 21 players. However, Harvey White is still on our homegrown list, and I thought I thought he would have got a deal.
Yeah, I think there have been offers for him today. There have been. Okay. Yeah, he would definitely get Football League offers from the Championship, definitely, because he's been out on loan before. He was at Derby. I think he might have been at Portsmouth at one time or down south once, whatever. And he's liked, and he can play at left back as well, and he's good dead ball merchant as well. But for some reason, he hasn't. I don't even know if he got a subs appearance in Europe. I can't remember. I don't think so.
So I'll ask you the question that I asked Mia earlier, and I asked Robbie, who was on earlier as well from Lily White Lane, right? And the question I posed to them, and I'll pose to you as well, is: come 11 o'clock tonight, Adrian, right? The window is closed, right? And we've still got some deadwood there. The 3 players I'm concentrating on, right, are Lloris, Dyer, and Bailey. If they haven't left by 11 o'clock tonight, what are you doing at 11:01?
Well, Dyer could see his year out. So could Lloris, if Lloris doesn't take a last minute deal. Which, look, their wages have been factored into their careers and their contracts anyway. That's not an issue with me. Them to let them see out their contracts. Well, I mean, whether it means they train with the reserves or play with the reserves, fair enough. I wouldn't mind them to. Ndombele, I'd be ruthless with. We've tried so many times, and with players. And what happens with players is not just a club that try and get you a move, even though we'd like to move them on. You've also he's got his representatives should be fishing around Europe, offering him around to get him a move, and he's refused. He's on 10 million a year. I wouldn't pay up his contract because his wages would be factored into the length of his contract, because otherwise you're paying up his contract, you're taking money away we might be able to spend today. Right? So there's no way I'd do it. So if he weren't coming, I'd say to him, look, we've tried all we can with you, right? You train on your own for the next 2 years as far as we're concerned. You train on your own, you still get your wages, but unless someone comes in and offers money for you, this is where I'd be cruel, right? Ruthless. Unless someone comes in and offers money for you, right, you're not going anywhere. Because to me, he's taken the proverbial out of us, and I'd just want to bite back. The club can afford it, but if you were to say like, oh, here's 20 mil, go, because that's your wages. No, if you're going to have to give him that 20 mil anyway, make him waste 2 years of his career. I'd really hammer him because he's been useless.
Right, so top Spurs are sick.
And he's shown a poor attitude. Even Andrews, he's been late for training. His attitude's been poor. His application's been poor. 3 things. Well, then you're no good to us. So why should we be helping you now? We've tried to get you moves. You don't want to go to Galatasaray. You don't want to go back to Rennes in France, right? Why should we even be trying to help you? No, let him run down his contract. Keep him for 2 years. As far as we're concerned, you don't exist. Your career's over for 2 years, and I would do that.
Yeah. So two things, Soji. I know you're in the background, but your camera and your mic are currently off. I've let you in, but I can't see you anywhere because your camera and mic are off. Top Spurs has said, if we're going to pay Dyer 1 more year, what's the problem with ripping up his contract up? Same amount for no return from the player, surely.
Well, the point is, if you want to tear contracts up for all these players, Dyer, Ndombele, and Celso's injured now, so he won't be going anywhere. He's got a quad problem, I think. And any others that don't want to go, you're talking like 40 odd £million or more. Right?
You wouldn't with Dyer if it's Dyer. But if it was only Dyer's, because I've named 3. Because I'm only.
What's Dyer on? 8 mil? Then what's he on? About 8 million? Yeah, what's he on?
No, because to make him 8 million a year, he's got to be on 200 grand a week. He's not on 200 grand a week, is he?
No, that'd be 10 million a year, is about 200 grand a week, isn't it?
Yeah, but I don't think he's nowhere near that. But even Lloris, if you ripped up Lloris and Dyer, their last years of their contracts, what's that going to cost us?
10 mil.
Okay, so rather than pay them for their last year, which you said was factored in, why don't we just rip their contracts up and let them go?
And is Perisic staying? Is another one?
Well, Perisic seems to be at the moment, and I've not heard anything. I mean, what I will say is a couple of bits that are coming up. Right, so Fabrizio Romano, Bournemouth have agreed a deal to sign Luis Sinisterra from Leeds. Here we go, travelling down for a medical now. And Matt Law. You know Matt Law? Matt Law has said Spurs are 10 million away from Chelsea's valuation of Gallagher, having verbally bid 35 million.
And the rumours about the actual prices that are bidded. I mean, it's with all these reports that it's gone on. It's been the same for years. They're always inflated prices, aren't they? Because the first bid for Gallagher was, it's 50 mil. I thought, no, it isn't. Right? It isn't 50. If Spurs had probably bid 30, and they've probably said they probably want 40 or 45, maybe 45. If we had to pay 40 for him, I think he's a 35. But pay it, because he improves us. He improves the strength in And people keep talking about first 11. Don't talk about first 11. Talk about squad. You know, you've got 5 subs on the bench. You need, and ideally, if you want to be in a Man City situation, you want 5 quality substitutes, whatever 11 you've got on the pitch, and then you want another 2 or 3 to make you up to 18 in case you have a horrendous run of injuries in one position or whatever. You know, so you want about 18 out of that. And then you've got another 7 you can play with. And if you look at it, when you say 23 players out of 25, that gives you 3 goalkeepers and 2 players in every position. You've still got 2 spare places. My preference would be midfielders because most games are won and lost in midfield. So I wouldn't mind if we're a little bit top heavy in midfield, which looks like we're going to end up anyway, by the way. I hope we still get Gallagher whether we sell Højbjerg or not. You know, and Skip stays because he's homegrown. And look, and screwed up against Fulham. Right? We know that when Højbjerg and Skip, before he got injured, played along Bentancur, he helped them make them look much better players because Bentancur's so fast and moves the ball so quickly.
Yeah.
Right. He's a very quick player. Anyone thinks I'm wrong, go look at the stats, right? He is fast. Right. And so he makes them look good. So, and when you brought Højbjerg on against Bournemouth, he did a good job for the time he was on the pitch. But you can't make too many changes. When do managers ever learn? Same at international level. Every time I've had a silly England friendly and they've agreed you can have as many subs as you want and it's like 8 subs are used, the game's always crap. The games are always crap, right? Don't like friendlies anyway, right? And the same when you do it in cup competitions. Even big teams that put out these players have not played together as a team. You're expecting them, because they are good on paper as individuals, that we know what they can do at their best. You expect suddenly you're going to throw them all on the pitch together and they're going to play well. You know, Sheffield United last year, we had a better 11 on pitch on them and they had subs on the pitch. And the same, why don't they learn? And also, like Ange is a manager coming to Spurs. He will have a vast knowledge of the game, as all managers should have, right? Of players in the European leagues and other leagues, whatever. He'll have a good knowledge of the Asian League and leagues down south of the equator as well, right? He would have seen Højbjerg and Skip playing videos. He would have seen them playing games, right? He would have seen where they played their best games, whether Bentancur was beside them or not before they were injured. He would have seen all that. No, he has to take the blame for that. He will have learnt from it. He won't do it again, right? But we're out of a cup, which is disappointing. You know, it's a cup we were capable of winning, you know, which is disappointing. But he screwed up. I won't have it any other way. He screwed up. I love the guy to death. Don't get me wrong. He thought it would work. It didn't. I looked at that team. I thought, all them changes. That didn't irk me at all seeing it because we haven't kicked a ball yet. I was hoping that Højbjerg and Skip could win the midfield battle and Lo Celso would be released to be the creative influence. But he was crap and so were those. Once we lost the midfield battle, it was all over. But we still managed to hold on to a 1-1 draw. You know, I'm not concerned about the penalties because once you get the penalties, it's a lottery who should have took them or not. Although if I'd have picked Sarr, would have taken one for me because he's taken them before in the past, before he joined our club with confidence. So I don't know who was issuing orders over whether they let people just volunteer and let experienced people step up. I don't know. So anyway, we're slightly going off track. I'm waffling. I'm going off track here a bit.
All right. So I've got Ian Barron's come in and said, good afternoon, everyone watching. Hope you're all well and having a great day. Have light as normal. Thank you very much. Totspur says, are we actually looking for any centre-backs to come in? Do we know? And we'll come back to that in a second. Ian Barron has now said, as they say, never change a winning team unless it's for suspension or injuries is a fact. And Ian Barron says, I would go back to the 3 subs rule. 5 subs is madness. Now, Adrian, I'll let you. Can you just give me 2 minutes? But can you talk about the centre backs that we're currently being linked with? Because you've probably done what I've done and just looked around today. I know there's 3 that we're being linked with still, but if I let you talk that for a second.
Well, I assume the 3 mains one I'd be looking at would be Lloyd Kelly. It's still not Pershers would be still a very last minute option.
Yeah.
I don't know what's really happened with Adarabioyo at Fulham.
Okay, I'll
Because
come back to that.
if Fulham refuse to sell him and keep him that extra year, they might do that and try and force him to take the move to Spurs. I mean, for some reason, he fancies Monaco over Spurs, so we believe, but Monaco have even offered money for Sanchez, apparently. So obviously, Fulham have quoted him a price they don't like. And Sanchez, Spurs apparently had wanted 10 or 15 mil. So maybe Fulham have quoted 20 mil to Monaco. I don't know. The others, we've been well since this window opened. We were linked with Tapsoba, Adarabioyo, Roger Ibanez. There's Victor Nelson at Galatasaray. He could still be a late option. Anderson at Palace, he'd be too expensive. Gueye at Palace, he'd be too expensive. Bremer, well, that I would have liked Bremer. I mean, Bremer, he was bought for 40 million euros, 34 million pound, and I think if we went and offered 40 mil for him, 40 to 45, we could get him. He'd be great. Colwell at Chelsea's a no-no. He'd be another one I'd want a fortune for. Maguire, no one fancies him. He'd be up for grabs for the right money. Kilman's left-footed at Wolves. I don't know what happened with him. Obviously, Longley's left-footed, but he went. Early on, we're even entering with the Aiko Takura, this Japanese guy. And, you know, you had, when we were in for Tapsoba, remember last year, there's also Tahan Nkapi at Wolfsburg or Leverkusen, is it? You've still got Tahan Nkapi, Nkapi's left-footed, but we were interested in those as well. Now, my reckoning, Kelly is now number 15 on that list. And that's after getting a. But apparently, we looked at Kelly before he was injured and like a non-starter. If that's true or not, I can't. I haven't sourced that to find out if that's really true. But apparently, we looked at him. So on the centre back, looks like we're getting Johnson. Now it's a question: do we get Gallagher and Kelly as well? And the Adarabioyo, will Fulham force him to Spurs? If he comes, he's quick, he is fast, he's about second fastest centre back in our league, I think.
So sorry, it's just breaking now. Tanganga's gone to Augsburg. Everyone's breaking it right now.
Yeah, and that's with they have an obligation to buy if they're not relegated. That's how confident they are, right?
Yeah, it was Augsburg on loan for the remainder of 24 with a conditional obligation to make the deal permanent next summer, but I've not gone into the details of it.
Right.
So players, for the question, sorry, I'll turn it away. Hey, he's here. Hello, Soji.
Oh, finally in.
Welcome, Soji. Soji is from Come On Ye Spurs.
All right.
Hi. And he's a guy that I was on with the other day, and I'd met through Chris, Met Football, about a month ago. A very, very nice young man who has a passion, like we all do, Adrian, for Tottenham.
I know, right? How are you, Adrian? I've been listening to your, contribution. Top notch. Thank you. You know.
All right. Thank you very much.
Hit the nail on the head.
Nice to know I'm not wasting my time.
No, you did a fabulous job. Thank you. How having me, Jose? It's nice being here.
Right. So we're just talking about players. We've asked a question from the chat about players that we're being linked with. So today we're still linked with Lloyd from Bournemouth. In the background, Pershaw's is still a name that's floating around. And the other one for me, unless something comes out of the woodworks, is still tossing Adarabioyo. And why I say that is because there was rumours today on Twitter from aggregators that were putting down that Monaco, when they saw that the bid for Sanchez was turned down by Rennes, that Rennes were going to come back in with another bid, which has not come out yet, but because they haven't made another bid yet. But they were going to come back with another bid, and that's alerted Monaco to Sanchez. Now, if that's the case, then Tosin ain't going to Monaco.
Yeah, I find that Tosin thing a little bit. I'm never happy when someone doesn't really want to come. You know, it's like, if you don't want to come, let me go. There's so many players out there. Come on. It's like.
Right,
can you? Sorry, doesn't come to us. Wants to go to Monaco.
Adrian, can you hear the distortion on the?
Yeah, there's a bit of distortion in
Okay.
your mic.
Right, you got distortion on the
Oh.
mic. The chat's saying as well you got distortion on your mic.
Right, let's see how I can fix that. 1 second.
Well, Rennes are in for a centre back because they took Roden last year, didn't they? And then they let him go. So we know
Is
they're
that better
looking.
now?
No, you're still distorted.
How about now?
No.
Let me come back in, yeah? Is that okay?
Okay, all right. Yeah, there's no problems at all. Yeah, just do that then. But Adrian, with Rodon though, they had Rodon and Spence last year, both from on loan, and they let them both come back. But I don't know because I don't know much about Rennes. Have Rennes sold players in that case? Because
I don't know.
I thought Spence went there to cover an injury because their captain was injured, and Spence was brought in to cover their captain. And when their captain come back, that was it from injury. Spence didn't get a look in. And Rodon, I don't know what he was there for because he seemed to start off really well. I don't think he put a foot wrong. I think he might have made a mistake in one game. Then after that, he didn't see the light of day in the team again.
I didn't follow it. So I don't know.
Do you think then, Adrian? Right, and I'm going to say yeah, right. So for me, so you're no disrespect, you're slightly older than me, so you've seen a lot more transfers than what I have in your time to what compared to what I have, right? But I'm looking at this summer's transfer window, and it reminisces me of last year, whereby we did a lot of early business last year. We did five players early, and then the sixth player was Jed Spence. We did and dally for 6 weeks to get him in. We didn't save a penny. We paid exactly the same price that they wanted 6 weeks prior to what we ended up paying. And then on deadline day, it was a manic scramble to get players out. They all went out on loan, and we even miscalculated it.
Yeah.
This time round, we've done the same thing again. We've brought some players in early, although Van der Ven did take about 5 weeks from when we first linked to bring him in. But from bidding for him, actually putting a bid in for him, and that took about a week to get Van der Ven in. But we've done all that, and then we let Kane go, and then it's all gone quiet for like 2.5, 3 weeks. It's gone quiet, and today it has become manic day again.
What really didn't help was pre-season tour. We go on a jet-lagged, induced pre-season tour, which was a shambles, and I'll come to my point on this right in a second. Now we go out there and we play them games, and we come back, and it's 2 weeks before the season starts. Yeah. Now we go on a late tour because we're waiting for players to come back on international duty, right? Big fail. You should go on tour. You should come back and have a month on the training ground, in my opinion. This is just my opinion, right? Then you've also, because you're not on tour, you've got an extra 2 weeks to do transfer deals. You see where I'm coming from? So
yeah.
Because that is better. It helps the manager. He's got a bit more time with his players. And I'm not concerned about whether Kane or, a 30-man squad, you're losing 12 who are away on international duty, or even half. Play them games out there. Play them games, and then the players that are on international duty can link up with the squad later in the tour, and then all come back together. But I'm a strong believer a month at the training ground before the season starts. I think that'd be better for everyone. But we know these tours now are commercial enterprises. They're there to promote the global brand of Tottenham Hotspur. They're there to make money to appease our sponsors, So I think that doesn't help. That hasn't helped even now. It was 2 weeks before the season, and we're trying to negotiate games. Get players in now, and we've played 3 games. I mean, it's a joke. All your transfer window stuff, all your transfers should be done before a ball's kicked, in my opinion.
Yeah. And you're back, Soji?
Yeah, let's see if it works better.
Absolutely fantastic. You're coming through perfect.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, great. Okay, right. I know, this thing's technology can sort of get you crazy. I had it, right? I was saying earlier on that, I love Adrian's contribution. Absolutely fantastic. And you were asking about Tosin Adarabioyo. And I was saying that I'm always a little bit, I don't know. I don't like when players say they don't want to come, or they make us second or third choice. Really, if you don't want to come, please go. We don't need you. I'd rather have someone who wants to come to us and eager to come, and not some sort of, because I'm coming to you because I haven't got any choice. It just doesn't sit well with me. I'm sorry,
So if I also said that he's an Arsenal supporter.
Oh, that says it all. I mean, come on.
Tossing Adebayo is a confirmed Arsenal supporter. So I
Right,
just thought I'd
so-
put it out there just to make to put a bit more fuel on the fire.
Excuse my French. You can go and suck lemon. Sorry.
Right, so you've got so I was just saying while you in and out that Twitter has gone awash with Jaffet Tanganga signing for Augsburg with an obligation to make the deal permanent next summer, and Adrian has kindly said that one is it one obligation or is there more than one?
Well, I saw an earlier report. I mean, I can't comment on the accuracy of it. That said that there was an obligation to buy if they weren't relegated, but that wouldn't show much confidence from the club. I don't think a club would want to post a statement like that. So I don't know, but there will be obligations with that deal probably. And if he does, well, he'll get a move anyway, won't he? So
yeah, I guess it makes commercial sense for them because if they're relegated, I mean, obviously it means less money coming in, and it means potentially, I mean, less pressure on them from a financial perspective. So I think it makes sense from their own business perspective. For us, maybe not such a great thing, if you like, you know. I don't know how big their playing squad is, or what sort of how well they expect to do in the course of the season. I mean, so I guess that probably plays into it as well. I guess again, it all depends on the status of the club. I mean, if a club like Tottenham come in and say, "Look, we'll only buy a player or keep him if we're not relegated," I'm thinking, really, you think you're going to get relegated? Yeah. So I guess that's probably the reason. I mean, I don't know.
So I'm going to go back a step. So normally I do something what's called Guest Corner, and I put this out to the people in the chat and the people that are within the panels, whoever's on the show, and I ask anyone to provide one abiding memory of Tottenham Hotspur. It can be either what made you support them, it can be a game that you've been to, it can be a time in life where Tottenham's been in your life about something, but everybody's got loads, but we only want one. So per show, I'll only allow one, because then that means I can ask it again and again and again. And I'm sure that you'll have a lot as well. So is there one that you'd like to share with us, Soji?
Oh, where do I start? Where do I start? Gosh, I think for me, it's probably Woodgate's goal against Chelsea, 2008 League Cup final. You know, I mean, I was totally, I mean, yeah, it was good because I was in vantage position, Wembley Stadium, and I saw it going. And I thought to myself, yeah, and I won a trophy at the end of it. So that for me was possibly one of the highlights, you know, at least in recent years. You know, if you want to go back to 1991, 1981, you know, yes, probably have so many more. And yeah, and that's what's the word? Ricky Villa's goal as well, you know, so many. So you said one, sorry.
Yeah, you can only have one, because otherwise, some people in the chat last week when I started this off, they said it's a really good idea.
I'll take it. Would get one. That's
but they would write one, and then further down they would write another, and then they would write another. And I was saying, look, I'm not going to read them all out because I said that everyone gets one, and then every time we do the show, we'll ask for another one. I must admit, we haven't had the Woodgate goal yet from the cup final, so. Yeah, you've not watched the last show, but at the moment, everyone that I've asked, and everyone that's done it in the chat, and everyone on the panel that I've asked, no one has repeated the same thing twice.
Okay,
so
good.
There must be which means that we've got a lot of good fond memories of Tottenham for one reason or another. They're in our hearts, they're in our lives, and it is a way of life for us. And therefore, I would not expect that many of us would share the same one anyway. So that's good. That's good. So thank you for that. And I just keep whilst you're on, I just keep checking to see if there's any more news.
It'd be interesting to hear your one though. I mean, Jose, come on.
I did one earlier, and I did one last week as well.
What was yours earlier? To remind me, I wasn't here. Sorry.
Okay, so last week it was. No, do you know what? I haven't done one I don't think I did one. I think I asked Mia, and I asked Adrian. I didn't ask one. I didn't answer early, did I, Adrian?
No, you didn't ask me. No.
No, did I not ask you either?
No.
Okay, so therefore that means I haven't done one myself. So, Adrian, one of yours from your guest corner.
I'm going to take you back to 1984 for any of you that remember 1984. I was supporting the club in 1984.
So was I. Yeah.
But before I
I was.
mention okay, I want to mention something that Jurgen Klinsmann said on two of his stints at Tottenham, and it summed up what I'm going to say about 1984. Klinsmann said, he turned around and said, with the words that really, I thought, were profound. He said, "There's something unique about this football club." Now, unique means special, different to other clubs, and Klinsmann, he'd done the rounds, and it summed up to me 1984 penalty shootout. I'm at White Hart Lane, sitting in my seat above the shelf, watching the second leg against Anderlecht in the UEFA Cup final. And Danny Thomas steps up to take his penalty. And he missed. And almost unless my memory fails me, almost immediately, the whole crowd started singing "There's Only One Danny Thomas," which I thought was absolutely brilliant. And this was before we went on to win, when Morten Olsen, I think, missed his penalty. We went on to win, and all the players rushed over to Parks, who had a bit of history at club because he had been given a second chance because he had been dumped the drink drive. And in those days, you crossed the line anyway, and you're known as bad. Not only did you get kicked out of a club, no one else would take you on, So, yeah, and I just thought that was brilliant. I mean, it was brilliant to lift the UEFA Cup for the second time as well. I remember us lifting the first one. So that I just thought that stuck in me because it was the fans as well as the glory of winning the trophy to
me. That's a good one as well. We haven't had that one. So the thing is that the three of us supported Tottenham in the 70s as well as the 80s. Some of you, Adrian, do you go back to the 60s or not? Is it 70s?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so you go to the 60s.
Double side play.
So I don't know, Soji, you 70s or 60s as well? I know you're 70s. Well. You're 60s as well. So the thing is, today we've got people that can go. You two can go a bit further back than me, but we've got people that can go way back. Mm-hmm. But the people that I've had on the show so far are not people that can go as way back as us. So therefore, we're getting you get a broad amount of people telling you different things, right? Because they're from different eras and that, so you're going to say different things. So last week I talked about, who did I talk about last week? I can't even remember what I talked about last week. But today I'm going to talk about, I went to watch, it was a 1991 FA Cup semi-final.
Right, just give me 1 second, I'll be back.
Yeah, okay. Me and my cousin couldn't get tickets. So me and my cousin went and watched it in a boozer. And we've got Arsenal mates as well. We know a lot of Arsenal boys. And back in the day, mobile phones had only just started coming up and coming out, and some of them looked like fucking bricks. The big Motorola things and all that. Well, anyway, I'm not going to say we were yuppies, but we had phones at the time. And Gascoigne scored that absolute belter past Seaman. Anyway, we've gone on to win the match 3-1, deservedly so. Must say that back in 91, for those that can remember or don't remember, Arsenal were actually a decent side back then, and they were on the up. We weren't on the up. We had good players. Didn't have great teams, but we had good players. But Arsenal, since when they won the league in '89, did the double in '89 or whatever, from then on they started building really good sides, Arsenal. So no one had us down to beat Arsenal at all in that semi-final. And it was after beating them that we went on the rampage, me and my cousin, and we used them phones. And it was back, I can't remember the name of the contracts we had. They were 07956 numbers. 1-to-1, that was the number. It was called 1-to-1. And these are the ones where them numbers, you got 3 minutes, and that's the first company to actually do 3 minutes in the packages. And the companies tried to buy your phone contracts off you even 10 years after you had it, because it's such a great contract to have, and they stopped doing them. Anyway, we certainly used the 3 minutes. We certainly used them phones, and we rang up and we badgered and we bullied every single Arsenal supporter on this planet that we recognised and knew. In fact, we did it so much where we had a few of them crying over us to the phone, just leave us alone. Please, just leave us alone. And I'm thinking to myself, well, we haven't done nothing for a number of years. They've just won the title a couple of years back. They building teams and that, and we've gone and beaten them and actually played them off the park. And that's my abiding memory, that we couldn't get tickets, but then we used their mobile phones and we rang and we badgered them. We badgered them for hours after the game, whilst drinking as well. But we badgered them for hours, and we did have a couple. And I'll be honest, we did have a couple crying. Just said, "Look, please, just leave us alone. Just leave
There
us
was a
alone." We can't."
certain irony in the final, wasn't there? Because you had Justin Edinburgh battling with Roy Keane, and you had Des Walker give the own goal.
If you're going to talk too much about this now, Adrian, because you might say that this is one of your for the future.
All right, we'll leave it.
Yeah, because that's what I'm saying. Because when you talk, and this is like, who was it? Mark Cousins. You know, Mark the Sheriff.
Yeah.
He was writing down one after the other last week when I did this. I was like, I can only read one out. You can only have one turn. So Mark had a turn earlier on today as well. But it's something I like to do, something to bring different. It's, a reason for why people support Tottenham, or an abiding memory, or how Tottenham is within their lives. I just think it's interesting. You get to know other people better when you understand, because we all support Tottenham for our own reasons, and we've all got a journey that we've been on, and our journeys are not always shared. So therefore, I just think it's an idea to do it when I come on. So, but yeah, so thank you very much, gentlemen, for playing along with that part. Yeah. So I'm just looking again. I think someone said that Salah was bid for earlier, and that Liverpool turned it down, 150 mil earlier on today, and it was turned down. Atletico's current verbal offer for Højbjerg is not enough to convince Spurs. That came out 32 seconds ago. Sevilla have tried again for Victor Nelson, and Galatasaray said no way to them. Is there anything else coming up? I don't know who these people are, because they're not one of them I recognise ones. Yeah, so do you think anyone, Soji, and also Adrian, do you think anyone will come out of the woodworks between now and 11 o'clock? Well, we've got 6.5 hours left, 6 hours and 40 minutes left of the transfer window. Do you think, apart from the ones that so at the moment we're being told Gallagher is one and Lloyd from Bournemouth's another, do you think it's just them two? Do you think another name's going to spring out from somewhere? Will there be a surprise package anywhere?
I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll probably have one I don't know, centre half. Which one it is, I don't know. But I think we need some centre half. So that's probably going to be the surprise I would expect, I guess.
What, someone other than Lloyd, Soji?
It could be Lloyd. I don't know. I mean,
but then that won't be a surprise, because we're being linked with him at the moment. I'm saying someone other than Conor Gallagher and Lloyd from Bournemouth. They're the two that the names. They're the ones that are going through all the aggregators and all that. I'm just thinking, are they the two, or will there be a surprise name that comes out?
It could be Victor Nelson, for all you care.
And what about for you, Adrian?
When I try to read between the lines, it's who are the ones that we've had conversations with, that we've drifted away from, that have disappeared into the darkness recently. If for some reason Lloyd Kelly isn't the one, it might be a little bit left field, but we did have quite a bit of conversation with Pershers, who was keen to come. Good defender from Torino, so a possibility. I don't see any other midfielders other than Conor Gallagher. I don't see any. So we know Johnson's virtually a done deal. So as our friend below said, a late left field centre back. If it's not Pershers, looking down the list, Nelson at Galatasaray wanted to come to Spurs. He did want to come, so he could be a late one. I can't remember him now. I mean, it was a long time ago since I watched his videos, But that is about it. So if it isn't on centre back scale, I could only see either Pershers or possibly Nelson. If it
Okay, so
wasn't,
you're both putting your flags against the mast that the surprise name will be a centre half.
if it is, yeah.
Okay.
If it like, I mean, Lloyd Kelly's a surprise name to me, to be honest, as well. You know, so.
See, to me, I had this chat with Mir earlier, and to me, the surprise package for me, we walked away from this deal about 2 to 3 weeks ago. It's been gone all quiet, but they qualified to the round of the group stages of the European, whatever European competition they're in yesterday. Gift Orban. Gift. Why not Gift? He doesn't break your homegrown, doesn't break your non-homegrown because he's under 21. We walked away from it because we said we wouldn't pay the money, supposedly. So if we were offering 30 to 35, but they wanted 40 or whatever it was, now that we've walked away from the deal, and they've got through their competition and whatever, could a deal be resurrected there where the both clubs meet in the middle? So not one's at this end and one's at that end. Could that happen? Could that be a surprise?
Would you think that the Brennan deal is like the option or the alternative to the Auburn deal? Or I mean,
no, Brennan's done. Brennan's done.
I know. I'm saying that it's done now because they walked away from the other one. I mean, they wouldn't have gone for Brennan if they hadn't collapsed. If the deal with Auburn hadn't collapsed, I don't know. I'm only guessing.
But I'm just because the only reason I'm saying is because Gift Orban is under 21, so therefore he doesn't affect what you're trying to do with your homegrown. This year, he doesn't affect what you're trying to do with your homegrown and your non-homegrown because he wouldn't count. He's an under 21.
Mm-hmm.
So to me as well, I mean, I don't know. Adrian goes week in and week out to the ground, and at the end of the day, Adrian, are you comfortably happy with Son, Richie, and Kulu? Because to me, I reckon that the more competition you've got, the better a side that we're going to become. So if you throw in Solomon, Perisic, Brennan Johnson, and Gift Orban, and you've got 7 for free spaces, that creates competition.
I think they were a little bit wary. Recruitment group, which is Gabonini's, Ange, and whoever. It's not Levy. I mean, they come to him with it. They go to him with a list that they want. I just think Brennan Johnson was chosen over Orban simply because he's done it in the Championship. He's shown that he can handle the Premier League. We don't know what his ceiling is. We haven't seen enough of it. And I just think they took the less risky option by getting Brennan Johnson in, and they won't go for Orban now. Orban reminds me a bit of Defoe, very raw, fast, very raw. Potential, but it is the Belgian league. Not that you can knock the Belgian league when Company, Alderweireld, Eden Hazard, Dries Martins, and you can name all the Belgian players in that team that played in that league. But there's not exactly been a big queue of people after Gift Orban. They're all like, European clubs are not going to pay that sort of money for a young player anyway because they haven't got it. They'd want a less risky option. And Premier League clubs, they've looked, but, no one's really coming and thought, bang, I'll go for it. The richer clubs don't need to. They can go buy more oven-ready players. Chelsea have, Man United, they can do that. So it'll be left at teams like us to move in, us, West Ham, whatever. Why haven't West Ham gone for him, They got the Rice money.
Yeah.
So they bought that.
But the only English teams that actually inquired about Gift Orban, as far as I'm aware, are just us and Fulham.
Yeah.
And you might have had some foreign clubs, and I wouldn't know about the foreign clubs.
And Fulham haven't replaced Mitrovic, have they? So they might still go in for him. You never know. There might be something going on.
Yeah, but they have. Fulham have bought in. They bought in Raul Jimenez from Wolves.
Oh right, yeah.
And they bought some other fellow, and his name escapes me now. But they got another fella up front now as well up there, because there's 3 of them vying for one place. It's Jimenez, Vinicius, and there's another player. So, but the two players with Vinicius are both new and only just come in this summer.
And we're in for Conor Gallagher. Yet now Ange might not have wanted this player, and yet Sengar at PSV is going to go to Forest for about 35 mil.
Yeah, I read that earlier. I read it out
And,
earlier.
and I'm thinking, ooh, everyone's saying, is Basuma number 6 or not? Well, Sengar definitely is.
Sengar, yeah, he's definitely
and he's a monster, right? And I would have taken Sengar for 35 million. If we'd have gone in for him, it'd probably been 45 million. But I mean, like,
I'd still take him for 35 million now.
Yeah,
I'd still go in there.
Yeah, I would. I mean, so were you looking at the number 6 is out in him and Amrabat, basically, who's going to have a long-awaited deal to Man United. So,
Amrabat's gone for the same money as Sangari because Amrabat's gone on a 10 million loan, and then with an option to buy for 20 million and 5 million further on in add-ons next year, which totals 35 million euros. Right,
and the thing with these,
and Sangari's 35 million quid including add-ons.
Yeah. And
so Amrabat's slightly cheaper because of the conversion rate with the euros to the pound, but I mean I'll say it now for Sangari, but Amrabat is definitely in the top 5 6s in the world.
Yeah,
in that position.
And Sangari will do an excellent job for Forest.
I'm saying, so that money is just that. And how much are Forest going to sell him for next year? Because he's had a blinding season for Forest, and they're going to make an absolute cartload next year on him.
Yeah. I mean, I would have liked Sangari. I went and watched him. I thought, well, this guy's a tank, So yeah, and 35 mil. Well, I think it's a fair price anyway. I mean, because leaving it late, you can lose out on deals, but then you get a more realistic price from that. These European clubs that are short of money, like you noticed earlier on in the transfer window, these players were talked about as £50 million players. Yeah. Like even Amrabat was after the World Cup, and now they've come down to a more realistic price level. So no, I think 35 mil is, as he's come from a Dutch league, I think it's a reasonable price. I think 45 mil for Brennan Johnson. To be honest, we got a player, an extra player to be a squad player, a first team squad player. I think it's a bit much for a player of his age. I do really. I think 30 mil would have been more, but it's the Premier League and homegrown players are at a premium, and you're paying over the odds. But that's the market. Chelsea haven't helped the market, have they? By going out, making everyone else think that the Premier League clubs are loaded with money. Newcastle haven't exactly gone berserk, have they? And Man City, they've got a good squad. So they just go out and nick one or two, don't they? So like.
Yeah, but their one or two is like 170 million pounds. They're one or two.
What did they bring in? They brought
3 in. They bought Guardiola at 77.
Right.
Mateo Nunes at 54 million.
Right.
Kovacic, 30 odd million, 40 million pound for Kovacic. So they're the 3 that they've bought. So they've spent quite a bit, but they bought 3 in.
Yeah, and they sold Matey to Chelsea.
Yeah. Mahrez.
I like Mahrez.
Yeah, Mahrez.
But again, you see, even with Pep, when you look, I mean, the days of a dazzling winger, different if he's a class of a Gareth Bale, that's different, right? The days of a dazzling winger that all he does is just relying on his wing playing him having a good game or losing the ball. You need more from players in the Premier League. You've got to have the work ethic combined with the skill, haven't you?
Yeah.
I mean, this is why Manon Solomon looks good and tricky and all that, but we need to see it when he gets in the team. He's got to show consistency, isn't he? Yeah. So we'll see. I might not want him to do well, but when your game, what have you got to offer once you're not on your game? That's part of the reason I like Kulu, because he gives you more. He can win the ball back, hold the ball up, lay the ball off. Great. He gives you more. But, that's just my opinion on the player. And I know the fan base is divided on him, but they're divided on Son. There's more that are anti-Richarlison, whose touch looks a bit off. But as I said, under this attacking system, if he can't score goals under this system, then he's not going to play, is he? I think Ange hinted at giving him about 10 games or so before getting ready. Now, I understand that normally if it was if a player was used to your system and it was the usual 6 to 8 games max, I'd understand that. I can understand that this is a new system. He wants to give him a bit more time. But I think he should start scoring. He's got to start scoring. He got one, which is good for his confidence. So he has to start at Burnley. You need him in the box because you can't have Sonny. Sonny can play through the middle, but when Sonny plays through the middle, it's usually a different game. It's usually when he's running onto players, isn't it? Sonny's not the player. He's not going to play with his back to goal, is he?
Nah.
So it's a different thing. Now maybe Sonny would even do better than Richarlison with his back to goal. Maybe he would. I mean, he did well in Kane's absence, but he wasn't playing as a number 9 with a back to goal in Kane's absence. He wasn't playing like as Kane, you know. Son should just play to his strengths, which is more of an inside forward striker than it is on the wing, as far as I'm concerned. He hasn't. I don't know. He just doesn't. Even though we've done all right in the league. He just, from when he's got his confidence, he will come in and cut in and get that shot off from an inside forward position or from the edge of the penalty area or something like that. But he just hasn't got that edge at the moment. It's coming though. I think he lacks a bit of sharpness from pre-season. The others had a little bit longer. This is why I said they should have a month, you know. But whether that ever happens, who knows?
Yeah, true. Is he still with us? Sodgy, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. He's on mute, I think, and he's not got his camera on, so he might be doing something. Yeah, from all that flurry, everything seems to be happening, but with other clubs and not us. It's not surprising. So yeah, I'm just checking as we go along, and it's interesting because some of the players that played for Chelsea the other night, so that Man United didn't go for Cucurella in the end, and I think not only did it have to do that he played the other night, but something about the deal with Cucurella meant that they couldn't go for Amrabat. So there's too much. There was more money involved in that deal than what there was with the Reguilon deal, and then that meant that scuppered them from going for Amrabat. But people were saying, you know, why would Chelsea stick Cucurella in the team and stuff like that? But Burnley have bid earlier for that Ian Matson, who played the other night for Chelsea. I'm now looking and it's saying that he's gone. Mason Burstow, who played the other night for Chelsea, he's now Sunderland have signed him on loan from Chelsea. So a lot of the players that played with Chelsea in the cup game the other night, a lot of them have gone out. So it's madness, but yeah,
there are different loan rules, aren't there, for football league clubs and Premier League clubs? The rules is quite a stark difference actually, because for those listening, if they're interested, Champions League clubs, that's football league clubs. There's no limit to the amount of players they can actually bring on loan, but they can only bring 4 players in from the same club. So in theory, Leeds could have brought 4 players in from us. They took 2. Whereas Premier League clubs, it's different. You're only allowed 2 loans. Actually, you're allowed 4, but you're only allowed 2. There is a separate rule for emergency goalkeepers. If all your goalkeepers are injured, you can bring one in.
Yeah.
You're allowed 2, but it can't be from the same club. And if you have a second loan period and say you buy one of them loanees, you can't then loan that loanee out, which is a little bit complicated for people. But if you were to cancel both your loanees, you can still bring another 2 in.
Yeah.
Or Premier League clubs can do that. It's a little bit complicated, but yeah. So that's sort of the rules on the Premier League to the Championship. So Championship clubs, well, it's good that they can loan more actually, because it helps. It just helps the Premier League situation, especially when clubs like Chelsea start bringing. I think they're going to stop that though. I think there's rules going to come in to stop us all out hoovering up all the young talent. So it gets spread out between, which I think is good anyway. So it's more spread out among the lower leagues, like how many you can actually bring in You know,
I'm just looking at someone's tweet here, right, Adrian? It says that the AFCON runs from the 13th of January to
to
the
the 11th
11th
of
February.
yeah.
And do you know the Tottenham games during that period?
No, but I know we've got two, Basuma and Sar.
Okay,
all
so there's 4 league games during that period.
Mm.
On the 13th of January, so the day that AFCON starts, we're away to Man United.
Mm-hmm.
On the 30th of January, which is 17 days later, we're home to Brentford.
Mm-hmm.
The 3rd of February, which must be a midweek game, we're away to Everton. And on the 10th of Feb, we're at home to Brighton. So they're the 4 games that you miss players for the AFCON. So I actually thought the AFCON you missed a lot more games, but apparently, according to the calendar this year, they only missed 4 league games. But I'm just wondering what's happening for 17. I'm just wondering what's happening for 17 days in January, where we don't play a league game between the 13th and 30th.
I raised this on a pod whiles ago, you know, and I said before the season even started. I mean, you wouldn't put it at the time our recruitment's improved. We've got a recruitment team now. We're gradually changing the structure of recruitment all through the academy and everything else like that.
Yeah.
And I said at the before the beginning of the season on podcasts, I was going like, do you think in your wildest dreams that the Spurs recruitment people we've got at the present moment take in consideration what foreign competitions are gonna affect us during the season? What you've just said there, right? What we know about AFCON for one competition is why we shouldn't be concerned why Levy shouldn't be so concerned about shipping midfield players out, right? When we know, right, that we're going to lose 2 in January anyway. So you've just made a case for keeping Højbjerg and Skip. Well, Skip was never going anywhere anyway because he's homegrown. But you've just made a case for keeping Højbjerg. And fans that remember, you know, apart from that disastrous game on Monday, just highlighted that we have got some one-dimensional players here. But they're not all bad players. They've played well at certain times in different team setups. Like Højbjerg comes on against Brentford, does a good job. Because I always said, what happens when we're under pressure? It's all right having all bowlers in midfield, but where's you know, who's going to win the ball for you? Who's going to get stuck in when the going gets really tough and things don't go our way, which will happen this season? So who have you got to stiffen the midfield? So if Højbjerg stays, it's not a problem for me. You know, it's not. But if we get rid of a midfielder, we have to bring another midfielder in. And we're looking at 4 main ones if Bentancur's fit. Bentancur, Sarr, Basuma and Maddison, aren't we? They're the 4. I still think Decky could play a number 10. Some people think he can play a number 8. I think he's more of a number 10 personally. But, you know, he may well be able to play a number 8 role. I mean, like, but as well. I mean, so, you know, so I'm thinking, yeah, I'm not against, you know, having, you know, like I said, you've got 23 players, you've got 22, that's 2 in each position, you've got 1 for the extra goalkeeper, the third goalkeeper, and you've still got 2 places. I think I'd rather have them extra midfielders because most games are won and lost in midfield. But
yeah, but I'm just wondering.
Depending on the season and what competitions are going that are going to affect your squad, then if we were losing 2 strikers, obviously you'd want to get another pair of strikers in, or at least another one in, because your strikers are away on competition. So all these things should be well thought out before a season even starts.
Yeah, but I'm just curious. I'm just curious as to why during the AFCON it's only 4 games. I thought it was going to be more. It's only 4, but I'm just wondering why we've got a gap between the 13th of January playing Man United away and the 30th of Jan, 17-day gap before we play Brentford at home.
Now, yeah, you got the FA Cup game, haven't you?
Isn't the FA Cup always the first week in January?
Yeah, I think you have. I mean, you have them in 2 lots, don't they? You have some in the first week, and then the second another round down the line in January. I think.
Well, I was going to say, but the FA Cup third,
international break as well.
The third round of the FA Cup was always the first week in Jan. Always, traditionally, was always the first week in Jan. You got your Christmas games out the way. So you had the Christmas period and New Year games out the way, and then the following week you dive into your FA Cup. So bearing in mind, I mean, this is only showing me the AFCON games that the players will miss. But I'm just wondering why we've got a gap between the 13th and 30th. I mean, I haven't looked at the other why, but I'm just wondering, we've got a gap of 17 days there. I don't know. I wouldn't see us having an international break in January. Unless they've introduced a mid-season break and we know nothing about it. I don't know.
Well,
But,
it'd be good, wouldn't it? And another thing with these competitions, if they're that close to an international break, why couldn't, the African Nations Cup go ahead during an international break? If it's a European international break rather than an African national break, then you would solve a problem of like players being missing from your squad, because you'd be resting anyway. You'd have your international break then. I mean, they wouldn't necessarily have to move. We could move our international break and make the African nations because they move enough for competitions like World Cups and all that. They always come around to the European time zones and things like that. So they move enough below the equator leagues there to suit the World Cup. They have to always have their leagues in that.
On my Twitter,
right, so
Adrian.
I'm just looking at the dates for the rounds for the FA Cup, and it says third round proper 6th of January.
Yeah.
Fourth round proper 27th January. That's the fourth round, 27th. So.
Okay, but we're not playing from the 13th of January to the 30th of January. So,
yeah, so 27th is one of the dates. So 27th is another date. Yeah,
okay, but
2 days. Yeah.
But the weekend of the 20th, Soji, there's no games then. So there must be we must have a winter break then, because we're not playing that week.
Yep.
So there must be some sort of winter break. But on my Twitter, I was just trying to see if there's any updates. And what's come up is coys.com, right? On this day in 2012, and I bet you were there, Adrian, Moussa Dembele scored on his Spurs debut versus Norwich. Were you there?
I can't remember.
He's been passed the ball on the edge of the box. He's clicked it between his legs, taken it back round, and then hit it with his left foot right into the bottom corner. He's just showing it again. Adebayor was up front because he's got out of the way. Yeah. On this day, 12 years ago, he scored his goal. It's Defoe that passed the ball to him on an angle, and it's gone to the edge of the box. He's done a trick, and he's clicked the ball inside, and as he's done the trick, he's then whacked it with his left foot from the edge of the box straight in the bottom corner. So it's just
there is
come
a
up.
winter break. Sorry to interrupt you. There is a winter break from the 13th to the 20th, right?
Well, that's not been advertised then, has it? Because I knew nothing about that.
So everyone gets a week off, but they're still getting each week. Those weekends are, so it's not an international break, but there are weekends in January when half the Premier League won't be playing. This is so that everyone gets a week off, but they're still getting each week. So there will be some teams will play 1 week, other teams will play
some play the other. So that's our week off then. I was going to say, that wasn't advertised.
January 13th and 20th, 2024.
Okay, so that wasn't advertised.
Why don't they have a Christmas break then? Like, if we ever got the Boxing Day at home, then I haven't got to go to a game with a hangover. You know what I mean? So I don't. There's nothing worse, is there? I mean, I know they've always cried for one.
The Christmas break has been like a family tradition for a lot of people. We have it like we've got to go for again the Christmas. You know what I'm saying? So,
but the thing is, though,
I get a lot of people have it like that, and it's almost like you don't want to change hundreds of years of tradition, if you like.
But for you guys live much nearer to the ground, especially you, Adrian. So for you, Boxing Day, you can just climb out of bed, you can walk down the road, you can go to the game. For us people that live a bit further afield, we can't go to the Boxing Day games because there's no fucking trains. They normally shut the train lines into London. They're normally closed down for Christmas and the New Year period because that's when they say they're going to do work on the tracks. So Network Rail always cut down. So we've never got any trains. So can never go to London for Christmas or New Year. Can never go to London because they close the train lines down here.
There always seems to be through the there's always loads of issues with the trains and all that to Spurs and getting away. It's always seems to be that way. I mean, and that combined with last minute fixture changes from people that have bought tickets and stuff like that and booked hotels and things like that. It's just an absolute disgrace. I mean, fans are treated like crap, and and ticket prices as well, which is another bugbear of mine. You know, I mean, I don't know, I'm going to say something about ticket prices. Actually, this is my bugbear because I fear for future generations of Spurs fans.
It's already started, Adrian. Don't worry.
Game, yeah? I mean, I know so many people. I live in Edmonton, a mile and a half from the ground, and they're asking me to get them tickets when they go on general sale for cup games because they're like 25 quids. I mean, my season ticket's about 12.40, so I'm paying 66 quid a game or something, right? Which I might be able to keep up for another couple of seasons, but then I might then have to consider whether I have a season ticket at the ground and just pick and choose the odd game here and there or whatever, you know. But it's wrong. I see no reason. And I see fans come up like Dorset Spurs and all that, a great bunch of lads there. There's loads of great bunches of Spurs groups that come to the ground, right? But they don't get the £30 concession that away fans get. I mean, I think it's right that some fans come from Newcastle. They've got to travel to get to the club, give them a concession to get in as much as Levy would like to charge them the 65 quid a game. But I see no reason why all ticket prices and all grounds shouldn't be half the price they are. Because all you're doing is you're not fueling inflation, you're deflating it. In fact, you're deflating inflation to an extent that if each club's got X amount less revenue around, it's only money they spend on players and transfers anyway, in my opinion. So you could do this, but is it going to happen? Isn't hell will freeze over before it happens? You know, but it's wrong. I mean, clubs make more money. I mean, Spurs, for example, they turned over, I think it was 441 million last year. Over the overlapping seasons and due to COVID, they still showed a 51 million pound loss, but still paid 41 million pound interest on our debt. 41 million on our debt, right? Because we are the most heavily indebted club on the planet, right? But the club runs as it's like having a mortgage. If you've got X amount of money come in, you can afford to pay the mortgage and you've got a bit left over, you can survive. So fans should just not get too into it. I get all the financial reports and all that, but you should just think about it as like we're a sustainable club. We can clear our debt. We can amortize our debt. Amortize just means reduce your debt over a period of time, right? Like a mortgage. That's all amortize means. So like we can amortize our debt on that, same on the players and all that. It's not clear in the financial reports what our actual debt is. It doesn't show in the report how much we paid off in any year or if we started paying this debt off. These are the things I want to know. It doesn't show how much we still have in liabilities on transfer fees for players that we've bought and all that, which is what you get it grouped into sums on the report, you know. I'm going to have to ask Sean Butler about this because he knows he's more into finance than I am, you know. But no, the club's sustainable, you know. But to compete, really, we need new owners that are going to invest heavily in the squad and clear the debt. Otherwise,
I think you just hit the nail bang on the head. I mean, Adrian, and you have loads of fans who come up and say, "Yeah, I got to pick up that player," you know, and they don't I haven't sort of sat down to think about, okay, fine, can we pay the wages? One, transfer fees, you know. So I guess one of the things I always say is, look, one of the reasons we are where we are today is because of the investment decisions we've made to get into this position to make us into a sustainable club that can potentially compete in the long run. Now, in the short term, it may look like, okay, fine, when some players want to sort of look at it and say, would I go to Spurs or would I go to Man City? Go to Man City because they will pay me more wages, right? So in that respect, probably still lagging behind. One of the things I think one of the errors which I think Daniel made is possibly trying to fast track the process, you know, with view to what I call maybe pleasing the fan base, if you like, with appointments like Mourinho and Conte. Now, those two we now know with the benefit of hindsight, and hindsight is always 20/20 vision, isn't it, right? coaches who sort of depend very heavily on a certain type of play, and also they also have a way of spending plenty of money, if you like, in terms of sort of acquisitions they're trying to look for to fill in certain positions, and they usually look for elite type established players who are like, maybe if you want to sort of take on, if you want to categorize the players on maybe category A, B, C type players, if you like, they always go for category A type players, right? And anything short of that is almost like not quite what we're looking for. But and when they do get what we give them, they're almost like, oh gosh, I wish I could do better. And you know something. So always like, we're always, if you look at the Mourinho era, the Conte era, I mean, Conte saying almost like suggesting that it's bigger than the club, you know, almost like it's doing us a favor. Now, where we are now with Ange, I guess it's a little bit like, I mean, I guess he has this this persona that very good with communication, loves to how do I put it now? He's down to earth. It doesn't come across as feeling like he's bigger than the club, you know, and he almost like he has a point to prove in terms of his vision, his philosophy, and how he wants players to play. Now, very much early days, you know, but we can see what the pattern looks like, and encouraging. No doubt, of course. I mean, I think I love the fact that we lost at Fulham and the manner in which we lost, because obviously it's a big lesson from his perspective and also from the club's perspective. That look, you can't make that many changes and expect to get the sort of result that you're looking for. However, I mean, it's all part of the whole process, I think. I mean, and if you look at what he's done with Celtic and all that, I mean, I didn't know Ange before he got appointed. It was really after he got appointed, we kind of did a little research. I think, oh wow, this guy is not that bad, if you like, you know. Yeah, so I mean, I think that's for me helps to put things into perspective from a financial perspective of saying, okay, fine, we need to sort of invest at the same time. It's not a carte blanche type of investment type of profile, right? It's got to be like on a sustainable basis, and like Joe's pointed out, we've made plenty of mistakes in the past. You have to think, hang on, we have a good system within the framework that helps us to identify the type of players that are good for us on the long run. You can see so many mistakes you can point to over the course of the years in terms of player identification, scouting, and all that sort of structure that sort of helps to sort of make those buying decisions, and obviously when we want to sell as well, selling decisions as well. So yeah, I mean, it's all part of the big whole big picture, if you like, you know. Yeah, so I think that's where I think we are at the moment. It's plenty of work to do, but hey, I think we're heading in the right direction, even though it may not seem like that in the what's my short term. But like you said, I mean, it's like in the mortgage, you know. It's you got to amortize your big loans and sort of kind of you're paying them off in small sustainable amounts, and that's where we are now. And that's, I mean, potentially the stadium gives us that ability to be able to do that. I don't know what you guys think.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Good afternoon, people of the world.
How are you today? How are you today, Chris? How is your transfer deadline day going, Chris?
Pretty dead. Don't know. I haven't been watching it, to be honest. I've all I've seen is a snippet or a comment saying that Ange is not in control, and that was a Google comment or a Google article that, well, it was an article that Google presented to me. That's all I've seen. I haven't seen anything else. I don't know what's happening. I've been totally disconnected. We could have signed Klinsmann again. I wouldn't be none the wiser. I wouldn't know. I haven't got a clue.
So bring you up to speed.
Go on then.
Tottenham have signed at 2:00. I think it came through that they signed Brennan Johnson from Forest.
Brilliant. Oh, okay.
So he's signed.
Is that 45, 50 mil?
47.5 with a
Okay.
10% sell-on clause.
Okay. That's well.
Um,
Okay. Yeah.
Tanganga's gone to Augsburg.
Augsburg,
Yeah,
Germany. Okay. All right.
on loan with a condition to buy, 6 million loan fee and a few conditions, which one of them Adrian pointed out to me. One of the conditions is that they stay in the league.
So if they stay in the Bundesliga,
That's
they
one of the
haven't
conditions. They got an obligation
right,
to buy.
with I say so it's not an obligation, it's an option. Is that right?
No, it's an obligation to buy.
Oh, they have
So
to buy him.
yeah, they
Okay.
have to buy him if they meet certain conditions, and one of the
Okay.
conditions
Okay.
is that they stay
All
up.
right.
And obviously, Serge Reguilon has gone to Man United,
Man
which is
United.
confirmed
Okay.
today.
Yeah. Okay.
I think, gentlemen, that's where we are for the ins and outs. Am I correct?
Yeah, you know Harvey White went to Port Vale, didn't you? And
Oh yeah, yeah.
Sanchez is coming
Yeah.
over Rennes or Galatasaray. Lo Celso is injured. We know that Napoli, Real Betis, and Barcelona were interested in Lo Celso. After
Sorry,
Monday's
did you say Harvey White's gone to Port Vale?
No, Divine. Sorry,
Divine. I was going
Divine.
to say because I thought you said
I
Harvey
might
White.
have said Harvey White actually
Yeah.
by mistake.
It's
Actually.
Divine that's gone to Port Vale because Harvey White is one of the ones that we're thinking.
There are clubs
now.
interested in Harvey White. He needs to go at his age. He needs to go out, and we really need to get rid of them two goalkeepers, Alfie Whiteman and Austin. They need to go as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So
that's where we are. Okay,
well. in either January in the summer to replace Forster. This is going to keep him like. So now we're waiting to see what happens with Lloris, Højbjerg, and Ndombele.
So
what's happening with Perisic? You know that Roden and Spence have gone to Leeds, so
all that. Yeah.
Okay, so
that, yeah.
there's a domino effect. Padinha
gone to Bayern.
Yeah, but with him going to Bayern, the domino effect was that Højbjerg would then go to Fulham because Fulham have made a bid for Højbjerg. They were prepared to pay a transfer fee, not a loan obligation, but a transfer fee for him. And that meant that then we'd go for Conor Gallagher of Chelsea. However, it appears that the train has stopped because Højbjerg at the moment is not wanting to go to Fulham. And he prefers to go to Atletico Madrid, who are currently in contact with Tottenham about a loan deal, but they're trying to do the structure on the obligation to buy and what the fees are going to be and all that, and see if they can get that across the line. Because apparently Atletico Madrid have sold a couple of players or got rid of a couple of players today, which means they've now got room for Højbjerg, is what's being said.
Yeah, that's always been the case with Højbjerg because Spurs were initially looking for 50 million. That was too much, but it was always down to getting players out the door to accommodate Højbjerg. In any case, whatever the fee was to be, and if they got a couple of players in, they can accommodate. But now it all has to come down to the fee structure, blah blah blah. Yeah, so that's fine. Whether that's going to go ahead or not, well, we'll see.
And then
not long to go.
What's his? Someone will have to correct me on this. Is Lloyd the guy's first name or second name?
Lloyd Kelly.
That's him. Okay, so Lloyd Kelly. Apparently Tottenham. I mean, I don't know how true this is, but I saw one report saying that Tottenham had bid 20 million for him, and Bournemouth have turned it down, and that Tottenham were going to prepare another bid.
I don't understand that at all, but there you go.
Well, we've had Adrian the Guru on, who Adrian the Guru, who has done a bit of research on players for his Facebook page and the stuff that he does, and he's researched Lloyd.
And the verdict is?
Adrian, over to you, mate.
He's just under 6'3", left-footed, can play at left, so obviously plays at left centre back, and I've seen him on the video play at left back as well. He looks decent, but apparently we looked at him maybe a season ago or something. And now that he's fit and injury-free and back, we seem a bit interested, but he is like 16th choice after Tapsoba, Adebayo, Ibanez, Nelson, Anderson, Guay, Bramer, Carwell, Maguire, Kilman, Longley, Tar, Hincapi, Takura, Schurz, and then he's there at number 16. So he's either 16th choice if we didn't have a previous genuine interest in him, and I've only gone back for him because of that. I mean, he don't look bad what I've seen, but I haven't seen enough of him. The versatility, the left centre back, left back option is good because who have we got to cover for you, Dogie, anyway? Unless you put Van der Ven there and put another right-sided centre back alongside Romero, or I mean, because dare say Sessegnon will be fit and he'll either have to go out and he's only 23. You'd think he was 33, wouldn't you? The amount of time he's been at the club. He's still not too late for Sessegnon to go out and loan, but if he has one more injury problem, I'm like, we got to get rid of him. I mean, we might still have to get rid of him anyway because the only thing he's shown for us was that goal against Bayern Munich. I mean, oh no, tell a lie. Actually, I was impressed with him when we played away at Man City that time, and he had some at the time was Foden and Sterling, and he did do a good job, but he's flattered to deceive, and you only pick out a few times. So he's technically very good. He's one of those players you really want him to do well because you can see he's got the talent, but keeps breaking down and that. I reckon they fixed his injury problems now, his hamstring problems for good. Well, we'll see, won't we, when he comes back, because he's going to be fit. He'll either be got rid of in January or loaned out in January or the summer. But but we really, I mean, we still need cover in so many positions. We need to have a centre back, don't we? We need cover at left back. We need a number 6.
And the other thing is that what's the Amrabat?
Well,
10 million loan fee with an obligation to buy him next year for 20 million and include on top of that 5 million add-ons. So in total, 35 million euros for Amrabat. He's going to Man United.
He's going to Man United, yeah.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is it's a number 6 that we're crying out for. 35 million euros. That was a deal and a half to be had. And Ibrahima Sangare.
Yeah, Nottingham Forest.
35 million pounds, including add-ons. So 2 players. Well, I know definitely Amrabat. Sangare, would you put them both as top 5 number 6s in the world?
No.
Okay, but Amrabat is one of the top 5.
Why?
Because he's proven at it.
It's decent. I mean,
he's proven to be one of the best number 6 out there. So I'm going to say top 5. But instead of saying top 3, I'm going to say top 5. But anyway, by looking at the prices, if we're crying out for a number 6, you've got 2 players that have just gone for absolute, well, call it what you like, but next to nothing. 2 players. I started this off, Chris and Soji and Adrian. I started this off earlier on today, and I quickly put this together. Well, I didn't put nothing together. I just decided that I was going to stream because I was bored. I had nothing to do, and I was just watching players going to other clubs, and I was just thinking to myself, "Oh my god!" And where I started my rant off was Mohamed Kudus. 1 year ago, I said, "Why don't we go for someone like Kudus?" And this is when we had Conte still as managers. This is last summer. I was saying it'd fit, a good player, high ceiling, whatever you want to call it. Why don't we go for players like that? Now I see that Kudus has gone to West Ham for 38 million, and I'm thinking to myself, 38 million for Kudus. Why couldn't we have bid for Kudus? Would he not fit our system? I think he fit our system perfectly. Then I'm looking at Diaby, who's gone to Villa, and I'm thinking to myself, would he not fit our system? So it's all these players that are going to other clubs that got me pissed off today that I thought, fuck it, I'm just going to stream.
So then analysing the problem, because if it's not money, right? If it's not money, because we can clearly go out and spend circa 50 million on Brennan, right? What is the actual problem at the club if you can spend circa 50 million on Brennan and you can't spend 38 on Kudus? What is the problem? What is the actual?
It's the recruitment decision making at the end, isn't it? I mean,
decision making, recruitment, and it all comes under what umbrella? Having a bloody clue how to run a club.
But the question is that there are two different type of players. So I mean, Kudus and Brennan don't play the same position that way.
No,
right?
they don't. They don't. But that's the type of
So-
player that you're looking for to rebuild.
Yeah, but
Well, you say that, but again, you got to think of Ange, right? If Ange wanted him, we don't know if Ange wanted him, right? We, as the what you might call punters on the sidelines, might think, "Oh, Kudus is a fantastic player," but I don't know, it may not fit into Ange type philosophy. You know, we have someone like Bissouma who would potentially fit in that sort of role. Madison, okay, is right there. Bentancur is getting back into fitness.
Yeah, sure.
Having someone like Kudus come in, would that sort of fit into that sort of 8 or 7 we have in that midfield? Would it be a good addition? I mean, Kudus presumably won't be a starter, right? Would he start what we have now, right?
Kudus starts over Decky.
But you say that, but I would probably start Decky over Kudus.
Well, yeah, but that's fine. But that's where healthy debating starts and ends, of course. You know, and that's the beauty of it. Where having people that get.
So
Do you know
I think
what I mean?
the main thing is that there's a lot of players that have got me pissed off today that I thought to myself that I think could fit the system and fit the way that we play, profiles, absolutely everything, and they've all gone to other clubs, and I'm wondering why we're still trying to shake on a deal, for 7 weeks. And we're not shaking. Yeah.
You watch Celtic.
Hey, Adrian, you can call me. My name's Jose.
Jose.
Yeah.
Jose, I've forgotten. I'm getting old, right? I'm getting old.
That's right.
You've watched Celtic play. I haven't, right?
Yeah.
I should ask David Harris the same question, really, when I get a chance. Did Celtic play with a deep line monster number 6 or not? Because I'm wondering why Ange hasn't gone for Sangare or Amrabat.
He doesn't play with a 6.
No, he doesn't play with a 6, but he's the most defensive, if you like, midfielder. Is McGregor, the number 42 for Celtic. He's a Scottish captain, whatever. He's the one that played. He's the one that kept playing. If the one that was the deep liar of the 3, although he doesn't play with a traditional 6, the deep liar of the 3 was always McGregor. Yeah. And then he had the Australian guy, Hatate, and the O'Reilly or whatever.
And Riley's Danish.
Yeah, Danish. Sorry, I thought he had Riley and.
Well, he's Danish because he plays for Denmark, but he's really English. But anyway, he plays for Denmark. Yeah.
Yeah. Although I've been a little bit left field and said I think I can see Kulu play as a number 10 in the future, and other fans have said as a number 8, right? I've also been, which some have agreed with actually, not which surprised me. I've also said that if we had another quality right-footed centre back, if you wanted that midfield destroyer, you could play Romero there.
I'm not going down again.
Well, fair enough. No, let me finish my thing. Right?
Yeah, sure.
I say that is because Romero intercepts quickly. He's got intelligent awareness. He spots danger quickly. He's quick to get in with a tackle and all that. We know he's not the greatest in the air for defending to set pieces into the box. So you lose that risk. You lose that risk of him giving away a penalty in the penalty area as well. And you've got a midfield destroyer there who's good on the ball. And he's good on the ball. And all he's got to do is lay it off. And he can do that. And he can do it under pressure. I've seen him under pressure on the flanks. We've seen him when he chased someone down. He's got the ball. The opposing attacker's trying to get around him to get the ball off him and all that. He's very good at that. I think he could do the job because in Italy, before he came to Spurs, he used to step into midfield. And he was fine. He was fine there. So he can do it. Would Ange do it? Not with the centre backs we've got, because him and Van der Ven are the best pair we've got.
That's fine. That's fine. But he doesn't play with a fixed 6, so that is out of the question totally. And as Jose said, he doesn't play with a fixed 6, and we concur on that because he plays with a rotating midfield. So if Bissouma goes forward, Sarr will push back, and if Sarr or Bissouma push forward, then Madison can drop in. Why? Because he plays with a rotating midfield. He doesn't play with a fixed Busquets at Barcelona. He always plays in a fixed 6 because he's the one that creates and destructs. While the 6 and the 8, the 8 and the 10, they do their jobs, and they only do their jobs. While the 6, which is Busquets, he is the one that does. He's a special kind of player anyway because he constructs. There you go. But Ange doesn't play with a fixed 6. He plays with a rotating midfield. So there's no point in looking for a 6 because he doesn't use one.
It's like Man City sort of do now. I mean, Spurs in the early 80s,
we never played with a defensive midfielder. We had Odelar, Dealers, and Vila. We didn't play
Oh,
with
there you
all.
go.
Ricky would put a tackle in, but it was the same thing. But what you have to make sure of when you're playing a system like that, I mean, I remember Malcolm Allinson said, "Oh, team saying Spurs can't defend. You know, we won 3 trophies, nearly won the league, right? Come close, fell short. But he said Spurs have 60, 70% of the ball, so you have to make it count. If you haven't got a defensive midfield, you have to make your possession count. You know, and Spurs would, because we would win games 3-1, 3-2, whatever, or more. You know, you just make it count. It was great football to watch.
Yeah, sure. But it all depends on how you want to implicate your players. If you want to put Romero in with as a destructor, and then you have Bissouma next to him as the creator, as the facilitator for the play, or Madison, or you know, someone that will actually drive forward with the ball as your game starter, that's fine, because he can do the destructive work. That's brilliant. But I wouldn't have Romero there as a 6.
No, it
because
won't happen, because when you either play
he's not going to start your play.
that, or when Bentancur's fit, Bentancur moves the ball so quickly, far forward quickly.
Yeah, for example,
Bentancur, Madison, and Bissouma. That's the future.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is that to play Romero in the midfield, for example, as you're implying, you need 2 midfielders. One would be a destructor, and one would be a creator. You see, but you can't have him as a sole 6 in the middle, because he's only going to destruct for you. He's going to have to lay off to someone to create the forward play. He's not able to do that because he hasn't got the mentality to do that. He's only a destructor, in my humble opinion.
He's got a good pass on him, Chris.
Anyone at that level must have a good pass on them, at least, in my opinion. But he hasn't got the creative.
What about Romero?
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's just something.
No, it's not going to happen, because that's not the way he plays. But
no, all I've thought about, and I still haven't quite got my head around Angie's system. It'll take a few games yet, because I want to see how it changes. Because when I watch games at the stadium, at one stage I've seen 3 at the back, I've seen 4 at the back, I've seen 5 in midfield, I've seen 4 in midfield, I've seen 3 up front, and I've seen 4 up front. Right, and this is in the cup, and just in the games I've seen. I think I see all that in the Man United game.
Yeah, but they're not rigid though.
Everywhere, you know. I mean, for Sarr to get up and get the lovely goal, you know.
Yeah, but they're not rigid. They're not rigid formations. They're, you know what I mean. On paper, you play a 4-2-3-1, but is it a 4-2-3-1? No, it's a 4-3-3 with. Do you know what I mean? It all depends. Your players make the system. So
I'm more an individual player.
Yeah, I understand. I understand.
Because as I said to Jose earlier, when Udogie played, he didn't invert. Udogie did what he does best, bombing up and down at left-hand side. He didn't invert. I mean, Porro did. Porro inverted. It reminded me a little bit of Ramino when he wanted one of his fullbacks to tuck in and make a 3 at the back, and let one of the fullbacks go bombing on, you know, to make a 4 or whatever, you know. It's sort of, but I like what I'm loving the football I'm watching. Don't get me wrong, you know.
It can be better, but it can be worse as well. So it's all in the process, and he's only had 10 games, whatever, 10, 5, 7, I don't know. But he's only had 10 games as a manager. The players have to get comfortable. He has to get comfortable. The squad isn't even closed yet. So it's all in the process, and it really is, you know, too early to pass judgment. So we just have to be
pre-season games, isn't it? So which was 2.
Listen, our pre-season has just happened. It's the last 3 games, really, because we really haven't had a pre-season, have we? So
correct.
You know, but listen, we just have to be patient, I suppose.
Adrian, are you on your laptop or a phone?
Laptop.
Okay, so can you see? You're in the back room with us. Can you see where it says? What does it say? So where it says private chat.
Yeah.
Right, go in the private chat and give us your phone number, because then it makes it easier for me to contact you to invite you on, instead of having to put it on the big screen, which I didn't mind doing today, but I don't want to keep doing that all the time. But today I didn't mind doing it, putting it on there. So that's how I got Robbie and Mia on as well, and Soji, by doing that. So, well, no, Soji, I sent it privately to him. But yeah, so yeah, it's still cooking, Chris and Adrian. We've got another 5 hours and 40 minutes to go.
Are you going to stay on live?
No, I'm finishing within
There's going to
probably.
be loads of podcasts on there from
There's
probably
loads of
about-
people on already.
if they probably from 6 o'clock till gone midnight. I would have thought.
No, there's people that already started. Savin was on from 2 till 5 and taking an
Right.
hour's break. There's people
People
on.
have got to stop to eat.
Yeah,
I've got
but
lots of beers. I went out and got 12 beers earlier on. So, and
Only?
David Harris is. I'm supposed to be on there any time from. He messaged me. He said, "I haven't been on the Irish Hotspur yet. We've like missed each other loads of times, you know." So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, it can happen. Yeah, I know.
Any time from 10 o'clock. So before then, I like them guys in the View from the South Stand with Ashmatic and that.
Yeah. And Marlon
And the two
and that,
Hazzies. I think they're excellent. I think they're gonna have quite a bit of joy with their podcast because Ashmatic, I call him Statsmatic now because he's he's brilliant with the stats. And I don't get too involved with stats. I'm an eye test person mainly, but if it's necessary for it, then I do, you know. But I don't like because I know others will do it, and I can be lazier. I have enough to do with my group, you know, just to keep them up to date with what's going on with content, basically.
No, it isn't easy to. You got the dedicated people that are in it 100% because they can, and and then you got others, for example, like myself, that I can't dedicate 100% of the time because of XYZ reasons. You just can't do it, unfortunately, as much as I'd like to. So you just can't do it, and it just doesn't make you as popular, and it doesn't make you as likable.
Bring facts to a conversation rather than just generalize. When some conversations dry up, you know what I mean. You can get a lot of people like it's just like yeah, fine, but you know we're going over old ground and things like that all the time, and also like although I'm in agreement with the protest group, personally, you know, the tone of some podcasts, I don't want to hear this. I support them in my own way, and I express my feelings on tickets and all that in my own way. But I don't want to go and, I mean, as much as I've got nothing against Brian, I speak to Brian Daigle and all that. I just don't want to hear the same thing over and over again. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm on board. You haven't got to convince me, right? So, like, I'm one of those, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah, fine. Oh, everything is respectful, I suppose, you know? Yeah. No problem whatsoever.
Yeah, me and Chris do it for the same reasons. It's just do it for the love of Tottenham. We're not trying to chase the ace and get like 1 million people and
the golden goose.
Shit like that. We're not.
And I think also timing and positioning your podcast is because there's so many out there.
But we're not bothered. This is what I'm saying.
I think there's the days that are simply less on to me is Thursdays one day. I think where there's a bit more space for podcasters.
Well, we go on a Thursday night on Chris's normally, but when we go on Chris's, you got Shelf Side Spurs on, and they're on at the same time. You got somebody else that's always on at the same time, and then you got Spurs of America goes on straight after that, unless we're still running. You got Hotspur Hippie, but we don't do it for that. We get a nice little crowd in our ones, don't we?
Yep. You know, you carry on. Jacob's usually on late with the United Spurs of America. Yeah. He's usually on. The earliest he comes on is usually about 9 o'clock.
Yeah, but we
go on at 9.
Yeah, but we run. I jump on at 9 o'clock on a Thursday on Chris's, and I jump off at midnight because I got work the following day. And him and Ellie are still going.
Yeah, I've been on until 3 o'clock in the morning, which is 2 in England. So, and it doesn't bother me. I just go and I go and I go. And if anyone else wants to jump on, for example, that's brilliant, you know. And I mean, it's got absolutely no problem. Why? Because it's not all talking about stats. It's not talking about Spurs. It's not ranting about Levy out. It's just talking about football, and it's talking about a bit about this and a bit about that and a bit about. I even do Spanish classes, for God's sake. In Greek, Ellie does Greek. And because it's all about the people and it's all about the community, you know, it's all about just getting together and having a nice little chat, and it could go any direction as long as it's respectful and even barbaric disdain. Like
he says, I prefer good, honest views with respectful people on the panel, hence why I tune into this channel.
Well, there you go.
Barbaric's a supporter, and he also supports Chris's channel as well.
Yeah, I'd love to see Barbaric in. So
have I got you both added on Twitter? Do you use Twitter at all?
Yeah, you've got me already, Adrian.
All right, okay. Well, you can. I'll give you my Twitter handle anyway. You can message me as well as the phone number. Have I got
Yeah.
yours, Chris?
I'm called Meta Football TV, but my handle is at ScoopersBCN.
If you could put it in a private chat,
Oh, of course, no.
then I'll just check. I might already have you added. I mean, I've got half the Cheese Room podcast added on most of them and others, and Chris and all the others like that.
So
I mean,
can
I
I
think
just
I've
say,
got about 30 subscribed channels. I mean, look, I see who's on and I go on, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? And that's it, you know what I mean? Like, there's some, I do like the boys of the South Stand. I mean, like, I like them. So, like, I think they might, well, everyone will probably be on today. It's transfer day, isn't it? So, I'll have a look. But I've sort of promised to go on the RS Hotspur later, any time from 10 o'clock onwards. I'd have had a few drinks by then, mine.
Yeah, on Twitter, it broke 32 minutes ago, but we've been talking and talking. I haven't said it. Right. So this is not about us. Royal Antwerp have just signed an ex-Barcelona player on a 2-year deal. I actually thought this player had retired many, many years ago.
Who?
Mark Van Bommel.
Oh, is he still playing?
Mark Van Bommel? No, as a manager.
Is he a manager?
Mark Van Bommel's a manager, man.
It just says Mark Van Bommel has just signed a deal at Royal Antwerp until June 2025, a 2-year deal.
Are you sure it's not his son? Because his son plays football.
Well, his face is right here in front of me, and he is aged. Yeah, you can see he's aged.
Yeah, but Mark Van Bommel's manager.
It's Fabrizio Romano. He's tweeted it, and he got a picture of him holding a shirt up and everything.
Has he posted anything else for Fabrizio? If you scroll him down, has he posted anything else about us or anything?
I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back up. Sorry,
Mark Van Bommel used to play for Barcelona, for Bayern Munich, PSV, and the lot. But he is a manager now.
So Barbaric Disdain said, with all these randoms on Adrian's list, back in the day we'd call him a tart. So I don't know whether you were on earlier, Adrian. I know you weren't, Chris. But Barbaric. We was on. It was me and Mia. Mia was on at the time.
Oh right.
And we were talking about, when I do guest corner.
Yeah.
So everyone had a go at guest corner, and then I turned around and we were talking about social media, and I just turned around and said, well, back in the day, we never had fucking Wi-Fi, internet, phones and stuff like that. And I turned around and I said, look, what we used to do, Mia, is at home you used to have a telephone with a round dial on it, not buttons, but it's a round dial. And you went round. So if you went round to do an 8, you put your finger through the hole for 8, went round, and then you hit a clip at the bottom. And
the middle clip.
And then it'll roll itself back round. And if you heard the phone, when it rolled itself back round, it'd go like it was rolling round. And so what used to happen is parents used to lock the phones in order to not have the bills go up. So what we learned to do in phone boxes and at home is do the taps. Know that the two prongs where the phone used to sit on.
Yeah.
Right. If you tapped it, so my number when I lived in Westminster was 8217497. So if you did eight quick taps and then stopped and then did 2 and then stopped, you could dial the number of the person you were calling without getting charged for a phone call. And Barbaric Disdain, obviously because he's an older chap as well, he remembers. He came straight away and said we used to do all that as well. So it shows that in our group, Adrian, we have got people that have rolled the years in our group that have been on today. There's a few youngsters that when you start talking about certain things, they're like, "What, really? Well, I mean, Mia was saying that she showed her children. She goes, I remember going to buy records in the shop, and I said, records in the shop? What do you mean, 33s and 45s?
Yeah.
Of course, we're older than Mia, so of course we'll remember all that. Do you know what I mean? So yeah.
Added you on Twitter, Chris. I didn't have you added, but you're added now.
Oh, thank you.
You've got me on LTL Cockerel already, Adrian.
Right, okay. You'll know if I've got you because it'll say following, won't it? So like,
what's that? Twitter?
Yeah, X-Twitter. It's just no, but I mean, you can either reach me by phone or through message on there. But phone, obviously, if I pick up, I'm there. On Twitter, there might be a chance when I just haven't got it open. When I'm online, most evenings.
Tottenham Day feed from Alistair Gold says a Spurs deal for Bournemouth defender Lloyd Kelly is looking difficult at this moment. Tottenham need to get another centre back out the door, but mainly it's because the Cherries are increasingly reluctant to sell the 24-year-old.
They'll sell him because his chairman turned around and said in one article I read He's sort of half hinted, sort of like, if the price was right, sort of thing. I forget if I could get it up. I got it up on the news feed. If I could get it
I
up.
don't know why they would sell him, because he's versatile. He's 24. And who have they got to replace him? I mean,
well, he was out injured for quite a while, wasn't he? So
yeah, I get that. But why would they sell him if he's back and he's fit and he's a part of the team? Why would they want to send him to us? I mean, then they have to go out and sign someone else in
Twitter,
5 hours.
On Twitter, Darmashesh from Sky Sports 2 minutes ago. João Palhinha stays at Fulham. Deal was in place with Bayern. He was
60.
in Munich. Had a medical. Fulham couldn't get a replacement.
Right.
So he's not signed at the moment. He's not signed. They're saying Palhinha stays at Fulham.
Player.
So that's what they're tweeting.
Palhinha won't be happy about that, though.
Right, Ryan Gravenberch's move to Liverpool should go ahead despite João Palhinha's move to Bayern not happening. That's coming through.
How old's Gravenberch now?
He's a youngster.
21, something.
He's young.
21.
So that's from Fabrizio Romano. It's just come through 2 minutes ago. So
you guys were usually on European footballers. I'm not up to speed with that. I struggle enough to keep up with everything Spurs and what's going on.
Right.
Gravenberch isn't a bad player either. He's just lost track a bit because he went to Bayern and he didn't play, and
So you got Hugo Ekitike from PSG, young
PSG.
striker.
Where's he going?
No, they're well pissed off. PSG are angry with him and his entourage, who, according to the club, have ruined the deal for Randall Kolo Muani, because Ekitike was talking to West Ham and others. And he's decided that he now doesn't want to move, so they now cannot sign Moani.
Who's that? PSG?
PSG, yeah.
PSG want to sign Moani, yeah, but they can't because if Ekitike doesn't move.
Yeah, he's decided he doesn't want to move. Nicolas Gonzalez has signed for Nottingham Forest.
From Stuttgart. No, from Fiorentina.
Yeah, or one of the Italian clubs, yeah. He's signed for them. And what else?
That's not a bad sign.
I would have liked Wilfred Singo for Torino. I wouldn't mind him Pershers, but I just think he's more complete on the right than Porro and Emerson are. I think it's just a more complete. Another bombing Udogi, but on the right hand side of the pitch. Right.
Sky Sports in Germany are saying 10 minutes ago that the deal is now off for Armel Bella-Kotchap. So won't be joining Bayern Munich, and people are saying, will Tottenham now go in for him?
How much will he cost?
It hasn't said a price here. People are just wondering whether Tottenham will now bid for him, because there was this morning people were talking about, well, Bella-Kotchap's up for sale because he's moved to another German club, fell through yesterday, and then Bayern have gone into today.
The price, if it's acceptable, the actual price is in a way is irrelevant, because you're talking about a down payment, are you? So you're only talking about putting like 10 mil down on these players, or 15, especially after Matey's going to Man United, Amrabat, and you're only putting a 10 million euro down on him. 10 million euros down on him.
If they accept it, though.
They've accepted it. Fiorentina, they've accepted
it. Payment and the rest in subsequent years.
Yeah, 25 mil and another 10 mil, I think Jose was saying.
Oh,
is that for Amrabat?
Yeah.
Yeah, Amrabat's 10 million loan deal now. And then obligations to buy at the end of the season for 20. Oh no, I don't know what the Bella-Kotchap was.
Sorry.
Right, so Barbaric Disdain has got two things saying, when I told my kids we used to have sugar sandwiches as kids, they thought I was trolling. And now he's asked a question for you guys, right? If there was a chance of one more signing, what position would you guys prefer we fill?
Centre back.
Vlahovic.
So you're not going for position, you're telling us the player and everything.
Vlahovic.
Yeah, I like Dusan Vlahovic. He would have been my pick if we were going all out and throwing all the money into a striker. But
Vlahovic.
Centre back. If I had to pick, he cost them 34 mil, 40 million euros. I'd take Bremer first.
Bremer's going to cost you 80 million, though, man.
Don't think so. They wanted money. They only paid £34 million for him, 40 million euros, Juve.
No, 41 plus 9.
Was it? I thought I
Yep.
read 40 and it was 34 million.
No,
And but
you need to watch my channel, man.
uh,
41 plus 9. 41 plus 9. To Torino. And
So-
yeah, but he's got the same agent as he's got Tromboli or whatever his name is, Trombone. But the same as Ange and the same as everyone at Spurs. Well, basically, well, you know, same as Madison and all these people. But Juve are not selling him. They're not selling him.
So,
And
so
that's
to answer his question, Chris, you're saying Vlahovic. So you're saying a centre forward Vlahovic. Adrian, what are you saying? Are you saying the same thing?
I want a centre back. I think it's critical for our season. We need to get a centre back in. If we get an injury,
I agree, but I just think that up front, if you don't score the goals, you can't be relying on other positions. And I know that I've said many a time that you don't replace Kane like for like because you can't. So the goals are going to have to come from somewhere else. But you still need a striker independently, like, irrespective of. But our striker is not working.
Yeah, come back on.
So you need to.
I'm saying centre half as well. Mia's just said hello, and then
Hi, Mia.
Mia's also said for you, Chris.
Oh,
come back on, Mia. Come back on.
No one watches your channel because of you. I know that. I'm fully aware of that, and I'm saying that seriously. And I couldn't give a shit, to be honest. So.
If Mia wants to come on, I'll stay on for another 27 minutes. But I've got to stop because I've got to cook because I'm going to go and spend the weekend with my grandchildren. But I've got to cook for my daughter-in-law who's driving all the way down to pick us up because there's train strikes today and tomorrow.
Right.
Oh, is it?
So yeah, so I've got to do the cooking.
You're not playing footy tonight?
No, I'm going to go see my grandchildren.
Oh, right, okay.
I played Wednesday and bank holiday. It was closed off everything on bank holiday, so I couldn't play bank holiday Monday.
So you only play Wednesday? Oh, well, fair enough.
So I only played Wednesday this week, but next week I'll be back to 3 days again and looking forward to it.
Sure. That's all right.
So we got one in at the moment, one and counting.
One and counting, Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean,
18 minutes ago from the secret scout, they're saying Tottenham are confident of signing Conor Gallagher before the deadline. PSV are pushing for Davinson Sanchez, came through half an hour ago from Rick Efrink. But there we go. There's a young lady. But it's saying that we should lower the price for Levy.
I just, all these offers that have come in for players that could have been out already, and now we want more, and now we want more, and like they're flipping, I don't know, bathed in gold. Do you know what I mean? Like we're Chelsea and we've got so many assets. I think it's disgraceful. I just do not understand it. You know?
Do you know what they're saying? Would there be a chance of Eric Dyer now going to Bayern now that Palini's been called off?
But it's Bella Kotchap as well that's not going to Bayern, isn't it? Because they wanted him.
But they wanted a midfielder, and they had McTominay and Dyer also on their lists for Bayern as well. But Man United have made it clear that McTominay's going nowhere because they've got no one lined up to bring in a centre midfield, so they're not letting McTominay go.
How about Dyer to Juventus and Ndombele to Frey Bentos?
Great team that.
Yeah.
Mia, you're on. Are you on?
Yeah, I'm here.
There she is. There's Mia.
Sorry, Chris, I was only joking, man. I wasn't really mean it.
I know you were. I know you were.
I know I half mean it.
I know, and I half took it seriously. No, but I know that I have a tingling feeling in the bottom of my left ball that my channel isn't watched because of who I am. Definitely.
I mean,
but that's
a weird sort of spidey sense to have, but okie doke, whatever floats your boat, mate.
I know, yeah. But yeah, it is. I know, because it's just a sense that I've got. It's just a feeling that it's because of me, and that's it. But I don't care. As I said, I don't give a shit because I don't do it for the love of anyone else. So I don't care. Just as long as people are happy, the ones that come along, and the family grows as much as it can, and people are happy, then that's cool, you know. So I don't want to be elite.
There we go.
Ben.
Look at that. We've got Ben
So there you
here.
go.
Hello,
Yeah.
everyone. Just hiding from Mia because she's threatening to spank me.
Oh, really?
That is such
He's-
a lie, Benjamin. He knows that's a lie. He's the one telling me off all the time. And plus, he's upset because he's not going to get his Eeyore outfit now because we're getting players in. So, ha ha to you,
Well, are we getting players
Benny
in?
boy.
We've only signed one.
Listen, if we get even one, he said we weren't going to get any. So, one is enough for me to not have to buy it for him.
Okay, fair enough. I don't know if that's your bet. That's in your bet. Right, you've got Barbaric for you again, Chris.
I watch your channel. It ignites a fire in my loins. Well, I mean, you just can't get any more personal than that, can you?
And then you got Tot Spurs, who's now saying, forget Gallagher, get me Eze and Tosin or Bremer, and a big hello to Chris.
That is for you. I salute Totspurs. Always Totsy for me. Love you, man. Thank you for being who you are.
So they're now saying Højbjerg is far from signing for Atletico. Tottenham rejected the first offer, and Atleti haven't presented a second one, and that's coming from Matteo Moretto.
Yeah, Moretto. Yeah, but what's the first one?
Whatever it was a loan agreement. But whatever the deal is about what the obligation to buy is and stuff like that. Apparently, they're not happy with the first one, and they've rejected the first one. But Atletico have not presented a second one. I think Tottenham want to go for Gallagher. Tottenham need to get Højbjerg out the door if they want to go for Gallagher.
I don't know. I mean, he might come good, but I don't know. I don't see it. But then I don't know.
But surely Gallagher's better than bloody Højbjerg, though, Chris. Come on, man.
But better is irrelevant. It's necessary to what the team needs, because
they need someone better than Højbjerg. We can't have Højbjerg, man. It's just ridiculous. He's useless.
No, but Mia, I don't look at personally. I don't look at players as being better or worse. They are more necessary or less necessary to how a system needs to be played. So if you want someone defensive, Højbjerg is better than Gallagher. If you play a certain way like Ange wants to play, then Gallagher is better than Højbjerg. But I don't know if Gallagher is the right person or player for us. That's all I'm saying. I'm not comparing him to Højbjerg. I'm just saying that I don't know whether Gallagher is better for us than another attacking option, or a midfielder. I'm not saying that he's better or worse than Højbjerg. That's you know what I mean? They're just because they're different. It's like comparing a central defender to a fullback.
The point is that when we get rid of Højbjerg, we need someone else to come in. And if Conor Gallagher is who Ange wants, then that's all good.
Oh no, I totally agree. I'm not putting that in doubt because in Ange we trust and all of that. But my personal feeling is that we don't always have to agree on what what is going on, and we don't have to always agree with Ange, but we have to back Ange. And I think we've said that from day one. Those who have backed Ange, we have to back him 100%. But I don't think that it means that. Oh, I don't know about that player. Oh yeah, we'll just take him because Ange says so. We can have our opinions as well, I suppose. But I mean, there's a lot of people that think Brennan isn't what we need, or Jesus, who's this guy played for or against or whatever. But just because it's Ange, we'll take him. I actually think Brennan is a pretty good, decent player, despite Ange wanting him. Do you know what I mean? So it's a win-win. Regardless of whatever Ange wants. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. I just don't know. Maybe I haven't seen enough of Gallagher to be convinced by it, but I will back Ange if that's a player he has identified. Do you know what I mean? So that's fine. I've always said that I want Koopmeiners from Atalanta because he's just too versatile. He's so versatile, but maybe other people don't know him. So it's just something personal, I expect. But I don't know. I don't see Højbjerg leaving now. So I don't know. Don't know
Well, I
what
hope
information.
I don't. We can't register him. We're going to have too many players, mate. We need to need to F him off. We need to say to him, listen, if you get out or you're not being registered, stop rejecting moves. Like, it's bloody ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult because he's got so many players and we've got such little time to do it. But then things don't have to be done on the last day. Things should have been done 2 months ago, or when the transfer window opened, or it's just typical Spurs, though, isn't it? I mean, it's just silly. When loads of teams have been buying and selling with ease and with comfort, we're doing our business like it's the first day of transfer window when we've only got 6 hours left or however long it is. It's just silly, and it makes no sense because you don't have any room for to right a wrong, so to speak. So if Højbjerg doesn't go, we can't get Gallagher. Well, good. Do you know what I mean? That's just great. Which is our detriment, isn't it? It's in our detriment. So it's just silly. It's just silly. Why is Levy constantly overpricing this dross? I don't know, Eric. I mean, I've said it before. It's stupid. We know that we need to get players out so we can get new players in. Regardless of the money, it's just space. It's a capacity thing. And he's overpriced. I don't know, 12 million. No, he's worth 15 at least. Jesus, man, get this guy out because we need to move players on and get new players in. But no. I just don't understand it, mate. I don't know.
The problem we've got as well, Chris, is though that some of these players, like I just said, are refusing to have moves, and that's the issue. Like, it's just we can't get them out for love nor bloody money, and we need to get them out, and that's left us in a really awkward position. And it's down to the ball because they give them their wages, they give them the contracts, of course, but it just made it extra awkward for us to. They've got this all obviously control because they can say, actually, we don't want to go nowhere. No, we want to stay.
Yeah, but I get that. But I mean, obviously, we're not privy to everything. But I saw yesterday when or the day before when the Davinson Sanchez Rennes move was on the table when the offer came in for £9 million, I think it was, 9 million, whatever it was. 9 million smackaroonies came in. And apparently Davinson Sanchez was open to that move, but Spurs wanted more. So, I mean, sometimes it is the player that actually says yes, but then the club wants more because we're greedy fuckers. I just don't understand that. You need to get players when you have that offer on top of the goddamn table, and he turns around and says, no, because we're Spurs and I'm Daniel Levy and I want more money because I'm greedy. Ha ha ha. But then they say no, jog on. We're left with shite, so to speak, with all due respect, but we're left with shite that we don't need. And then we can't do anything because we're clogging up a space. I just do not understand it. Get the money, move on, get your next target in. It's just so simple. But we just got away with doing or not doing things. It's just so stupid. I just don't understand it. But I don't know. We could have had at least 4 or 5 or 6 players, new ones in or whatever, that would have appeased the fan base and would have made the manager a bit more happy or a bit happier, and the project would have been a bit more settled in this first transfer window. But now we're just pissing about. Is it typical or does it ring a bell? I think it does.
Yeah. Divock Origi has just got the here we go to Nottingham
Where's he going?
Forest. Nottingham Forest.
Nottingham Forest?
Yeah.
Nottingham Forest got 700 players, man. It's just silly.
He's got the here we go to Nottingham Forest. He's doing medical tests as a Forest player. Told loan deal includes a buy option clause valid in June 2024.
How can they register all those? I mean, we've got loads of players, but how many players have got Nottingham Forest got? They've just signed loads of players, and how are they going to register everyone?
That I don't know, my friend. I can't answer that. I don't know.
I know,
But,
I know it's not our problem, but it sounds like they're signing quite a few players. They've already got a good big squad as it is, as far as I know. How are they going to do all that? I mean, I don't understand it. And on top of that,
yeah, but last year, they had a load of loan players last year. How many loan players are you allowed to have? Is it 2? Because they seem to have like loads of them last year. They had Navas in goal, who was on loan.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the other, but they had more than one loan player. I thought you could only have 2 loans, unless that's only in between Premiership clubs. But they seem to have a lot of loan players. So loan players don't get signed; they go back, don't they? So that frees up a couple of spaces because they've bought that goalkeeper in, from Turkey. Or no, they've bought a goalkeeper in who's got the big long name, but they brought him in, and obviously Navas went back to PSG or wherever after his loan spell ended, and now they've bought a goalkeeper for a fee. So I don't know, but they seem to be signing a hell of a lot of players today and yesterday.
So Tatarusanu?
That might be him.
The Romanian guy.
It was a long name, but they signed the goalkeeper yesterday. But in the last 2 days, they've signed lots and lots of players.
Yeah, that's my point. But I mean, they got Matt, was it named Matt Turner from Arsenal?
Yeah.
They've bought Sangare. They've bought right now. You're saying that they've got Origi. That's 3 players. They've got loads of other players as well.
That's right. They're signing loads of. Murillo is the South American centre half.
Murillo, from Corinthians, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they bought the centre half as well. They've got loads. They've got loads of players. I don't know how many. I don't know what their squad looks like, but they seem to have a lot of players.
Yeah, that's my point.
And
how we haven't gone for someone like Gibbs White is just beyond me.
They might be secretly propping up a second team in another one of the leagues in England.
Might be.
Oh,
they might actually be Luton in disguise.
Could be. Because the amount of players that they've got enough to share about to everyone, haven't they?
Jesus.
There's a lot of players.
But that's what I'm saying. And we can't get in loan deals, or we're not looking. What are we doing when even Nottingham Forest, with all due respect, they've got their history. But I mean, come on. They're doing their business and we can't. There's something wrong. There is something endemically wrong at our club. When Nottingham Forest are doing their business, right? And granted, the players that they're getting may not all be, Spurs level or what we want to do in the future. Whatever. But Sangare, you're telling me that he's able to go to Forest and not to Spurs? Really? When he's playing for PSV, a Champions, or at least they're playing in Europe, and he's gone to a relegation fighting team, and he's not coming to London.
There's no point telling me, because that's why I said I started the stream off, because I was absolutely cheesed off. So there's no preparation. I just came on because he was one of the players that I was annoyed about, thinking, how can all these players are being bought by people and we're not linked and we're not going for absolutely none of them. And we all believe that they're quality players.
The link I can debate, because we're privy to it. I don't know, but I'm not privy to it. We don't know if Spurs were linked to Sangare at any time, but I didn't hear about it. I'm not sure you did. I'm not sure if anyone did. But the fact that Nottingham Forest can get Sangare from PSV and we can't. And I understand you started a rant about it, because I think it's disgraceful. So, and it's not that we're entitled, or we look at our own belly button, and we should be because of default. You know what I mean? But it's just worrying.
There's footage here. How dodgy is this? Jorge Mendes, João Cancelo, and João Felix's agent all in Barcelona's offices. How dodgy is that?
It's not dodgy. It's just because it's not dodgy. It's because we're meant to be.
Financial fair play doesn't occur in Spain.
It does. It's because the fact of the matter is, João Cancelo would be on his way to Barcelona, and the detail that will let him sign for Barcelona on loan is that the potential buy option, or the buy clause, the buy option, will be removed from the agreement, which will allow him to be signed to not breach FFP.
So that's not dodgy. And how do you squeeze João Felix in? £100 million player. How do you fix him in?
Because Ansu Fati's gone to Brighton.
Yeah, But how do you fix £100 million player though into your? It's just ludicrous. How can
What do you mean? How
Barcelona?
do you put him in?
How are Barcelona operating? This is ridiculous. What
Because he's
they're doing.
going on loan. He's
They're
on loan.
worse. They're worse than Man City and Newcastle.
Yeah, but he's on loan though. Yeah, but he's on loan.
And how many other players did Barcelona get this summer?
But if he's
We've
on,
got what? Go on, Mia.
if he's on loan, are you not still paying wages though? So that's got to be factors in the fact that you have to pay his wages.
Yeah, of course. But Ansu goes out. João Felix comes in.
So what are you saying? That Brighton are meeting the whole cost of Ansu Fati's salary, and that João Felix's salary would be less.
I don't know. I don't know the details of it. But what I'm saying is that something has to be arranged or met in the middle, or we're allowed.
Yeah, we know what kind of arrangements go on. We know what arrangements go on over there, man. Yeah, we all know.
It's all right for some. It's all right for some and not for the others. It's all right for some and not the others.
Don't be silly.
Don't be silly. Come on, man. It's so obvious. Like they get with their money and that. It's mad what happens over there.
What money? We haven't got any money.
You've got no money, but you've got players and you've managed to do all these little deals and stuff. Okie doke.
80% of salary. Are you referring to Ansu Fati there, Tot Spurs? I think you might.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but 80% of 200 grand is still 160, isn't it? So that's a reported what he used to be on. He was on about 200 grand a week, I reckon.
Yeah, well, yeah. So then
he's on more than that, isn't he? Ansu Fati. I'm sure it was more than.
Is it more?
200.
Is it more? I thought it was 200, but if it's
I'm
more,
pretty sure.
Wouldn't surprise me.
But he's not on 20 million. He's not on 20 million at Barcelona. No way.
Check his wages. I'm sure it was more.
No,
I'm sure.
It said 80% covered by Brighton. So 80% of the salary covered by Brighton, but we only offered to cover 30.
Okay, there you go. Frankie de Jong is the highest earner in Barcelona, along with Lewandowski, probably. Definitely.
But who's got the highest release fee? Who's got the highest release fee clause at Barcelona?
Oh, Gavi. The release fee is Ansu Fati as well, with $1 billion. But then
I was saying this earlier to someone. He's got $1 billion release fee. Enjoy your sandwich there, Adrian.
I've been on my speedy cooker. I did 2 grilled bacon sandwiches.
Fantastic. Is that to line your stomach for your beer for later?
Yeah, certainly is. And on the Ansu Fati thing, by the way, one report I read, you read in these how you are, it depends on you be positive or negative about the outcome.
Yeah, sure.
That Ange turned around and said, I don't want him.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Would he suit the system? Look at it.
It's not about the system. It's not about the system. I don't think, but unless that article and Ange said that he's not interested because of the system, I wouldn't be surprised because his injury is a dodgy injury.
I think he's more than that.
But I come from the injury side of things because he's very versatile. But when
you get these deals, sorry to interrupt. Sorry, when you get these,
that's fine. That's fine. Sorry.
It's 12 to 30 million pound in wages, right? It'd be the highest player at Spurs on 230k plus more a year. Now think about this. So we're going to take a player for a season. We're going to pay them 13 mil, and at the end we send him back. So we develop their player for nothing with no option to buy him. There's no benefit in the deal for Spurs anyway, none whatsoever, in my opinion. I can stand corrected if I'm wrong, you know.
I think that fee is a bit high, but that would probably be gross, not net.
Well,
because you're talking about 230 grand a week, yeah. That's 920 a month, right? Yeah, 920 a month, which is 9.6, 10 million. Yeah, I don't think it's that much. I need to go. Right, okay, fine. Yeah.
I've got to go, guys. I need to go and cook dinner for the lads.
So do I. Mia, thank you very much. I'm going to wrap it up soon anyway because I've got to go as well.
Good chat, guys. Good chat. Excellent. I'll be back. I will be back.
But thank you very much, Mia. Good luck.
Take care, Mia.
I wish you all a peaceful weekend because I won't see you guys because I'm away for the whole weekend with the
You're lucky
grandchildren.
as sod.
Yeah.
Have a
So
good time.
I'll hear it.
Jose.
Listen, guys, thank you all for coming on.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone that's popped into the chat and made comments. It's been helpful along the way. It's gone on a lot longer than I wanted to, but I've had some really nice people on, and it's chilled. You know, we're not here to fight each other. It's chilled. Everyone's got opinions, and it's good to hear everyone's opinions. So
Exactly.
I thank you all very much, and I bid you all a great weekend. And I will speak to you lot on the other side, either Sunday evening when I'm back, or probably next week.
All right, cheers. Speak to you
All right,
later, guys.
thank you, everyone.
Take care,
Take
Adrian,
care.
Mia.
Bye.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Take care. Bye.
Yeah, cheers, guys. Thank you very much for that, and I will see you next week. See you later.